Ladies and gentlemen, that would be gentlemen, all of you, every last one of you. Our producer was late, which has got me tongue tied. So to you, I say this tonight we feature United States Taekwondo badass Mandy Meloon talking about her recent article in Sports Illustrated and her part in the Me Too movement and how sexual harassment does exist in the Olympic world. We ask you to take time to possibly share this with young athletes, male or female. Tonight's episode is something that everybody should hear because no coach should be diddling kids and no kid should have to be afraid of their coach. Tonight, hopefully, we do our part to change the world and maybe have a couple beers.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the Loki and Jabroni Show, the East Coast's GOAT podcast, where only you can find us on YouTube and every other media platform out there. As always, my name is Loki Michael Smith. To the left of me, as always,
I'm the redneck Adonis, man. I am Chris, the Jabroni Burns, and in the box, seat barely warm.
Very
Producer
warm.
ready, focus.
From naked, sweaty ass.
That's right, I was sitting in his chair with no pants on before we got here.
Zero. Absolutely zero.
Had to do it. Had to do it. Just for you guys to know, Eddie and I have been talking for weeks to Loki. You got to get here on time. It's a big night, big time deal. We got to do it. And Mike showed up at 6 o'clock. My head nearly fell off. I had to roll down the stairs because I was in shock.
He still had his taco plate.
I did. I was still eating. It's crazy.
He had to
Well,
put his
dude,
taco plate away and everything.
That's where it went wrong, because before I went to see the movie today, I stopped at my favorite Mexican fast food place and had a quesadilla with some pico de gallo and cheese and everything. Well,
Yeah,
it
had to
started
make an
affecting
exit,
me.
huh? Yeah.
Started affecting me right after I walked out of the package store, and I had to run over to the grocery store. And, I was like,
Which grocery store? Because certain grocery stores have nasty bathrooms and certain ones have really good fucking clean bathrooms.
it was Big Y. It's pretty clean.
Oh, clean bathrooms,
yeah,
yes.
it was pretty clean.
I trust
And
Big Y.
let's just say I was glued to that seat for like 5-10 minutes.
If you know,
Hey, shit happens, man.
yeah, always.
Oh boy, did it!
If you know you're going to be here in the Valhalla Underground, you're going to eat Taco Bell.
No, it wasn't Taco Bell.
What was it?
No, it's all right.
Chupa Chalupa
it is-
up
it is
there
fast food.
gimmick schneebits.
It's fast food, but it's more on the lines of like Moe's or was it Chipotle or whatever?
Sure.
It's called Qdoba. And,
You're welcome.
Oh, I thought it was
Yeah.
like turtle tacos.
No, that place is awesome.
Yes,
though.
That's
it
what
is.
happened
Yes,
after
it
the
is.
fact.
In Putnam. You been?
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
yeah, dude.
Turtle tacos,
I haven't
baby.
eaten there in forever though.
I haven't been there in a long time either, but yes, I
Yeah.
love turtle
Oh,
tacos.
the
man.
way they like simmer their beef like all day, it's like really good.
It is.
Yeah, they used to deliver, but they couldn't keep up with the demand.
Will your beef be
That's
simmering?
because everybody wants turtle tacos, man.
Right?
Come on.
It's good stuff. Will your beef be simmering anymore throughout the course of this evening?
my beef will be like MGK and Eminem,
Ha! Very weak.
pointless.
Oh, gotcha.
Fact,
Nobody wants that.
in fact, that's what's on my mind.
Well, we got a few minutes. You wanna do what's on your mind quick, like rapid fire gimmick before our guest star of the evening comes
Well, I
around?
thought she was running late.
By a few minutes. It's gonna be like
Oh.
10 minutes.
Okay.
Mandy Meloon will be here just after 7 o'clock, guys.
All right, so let's get our what's out the mind, and then we'll throw the Malone thing on, and then we'll do our buy and sell after that.
We got buy and sell. We got musical poetry theater. We got top 10. What's on your mind? You already brought it up. MGK and Eminem.
No, just I don't know the way the stands are riding Eminem on this one is just like driving me nuts. So this guy put out a parody, basically making fun of
Dude,
Eminem. I don't know if you
was
saw that.
Great.
That
Let
was
me see that popsicle.
dude. Look at this dog. Boggity bob, bob,
Bobbity bob, bob, bob.
fucking dog.
That was good.
And like, dude, this guy dropped a better diss track than both of them. I thought.
He really did. That
It's like,
shit was
well,
great.
you didn't get my 10% off coupon. Like, come on, that was awesome. Y'all need to check it out. You know what? We'll post it on the Loki and Jabroni page. You
Good
guys
idea.
check it
I
out.
will say this though, having listened to Rap Devil and obviously his response to that, which was
Kill shot.
right? The one line I did absolutely like was, "Can't be a machine gun if you ain't got no ammo."
Yep.
I absolutely love that line because we talk about guns all the time and how fucking dangerous guns and shit are. The other thing, which he didn't end up making a really nice rap about, but I was wondering the same thing: was that oatmeal or was that cereal that fucking MGK was eating? Because it looked kind of sloppy when he was fucking spooning
I
that
think
shit
he
in.
mentions oatmeal.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's oatmeal, right?
Yeah,
But he's one of them weirdos that adds fucking milk to his oatmeal, isn't he?
probably.
What
You
kind of-
fucking
what
weirdo.
kind of
What kind
sick
of
fuck
fucking
does
sick
that?
fuck? Exactly.
Water,
Where it's so
oats.
soupy. It's so soupy. It's literally I have to question
Water,
whether it's cereal
oats.
or oatmeal. Dude, that's not how you eat oatmeal.
It's
MGK,
milky. Cereal.
yeah,
Oh, see, we
milky
just-
cereal
that
is
was
a whole
last
other
week.
thing. All right,
Milky.
Cereal.
that's a whole other thing. Whole other thing. This is milky oatmeal.
Yeah, the only good line I think.
Baby, okay.
The only good line I thought Eminem had was the one where he said, "I'd rather be an 80-year-old me than a 20-year-old you." I did kind of like that because like
That's not bad.
MGK's whole thing was like, "You're old, you're old, you're old, you're old."
No, he was saying
You
that
know?
a lot.
It's kind of like when Ice-T and Soulja Boy went at each other. That was Soulja Boy's whole thing. You're old, you're old, you're
No,
old.
some of the best artists make their best shit when they're old. David Bowie's second best album of all time was his Death album.
I gotta agree. Look, freaking, I think everybody at this table can agree. Rehab was probably not his greatest
No,
ever.
Oh,
Or
relapse.
relapse.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
relapse.
same,
Yeah.
same.
Same rehab because he wrote it in rehab. Okay,
Yeah.
let's be honest. He was
Nah,
going through all those good drugs and he fucking wrote this fucking fucked up album.
I think.
And-
What
and
is
you
it,
know what's
6
fucked
o'clock
up
in the
though?
morning's
Here's
a
the
good
fucked
one.
up part: is I honestly believe deep down in his heart he thinks that's a good album.
No, he doesn't.
No, I really do.
Really?
I really do because anytime you insult that album, he takes that like a fucking like you just insulted my daughter. The
Well,
same
maybe-
idea.
I get it. Maybe it's a page out of his book. He's proud of what he wrote. It wasn't the usual. Look, I'm not a fan. I am.
Oh,
but
I
I'm
am
not.
by no my stretch.
But
That's what I'm
That
not.
might
by
be
any
his
stretch
most
either.
personal. He might think it's his friggin' masterpiece, and people are taking a shit on it. I get it. I can get why he'd be upset.
I like Recovery. Recovery is my favorite album. I relate to it more because he's dealing with his friend who got shot, and I was kind of dealing with the same thing, sort of, and so I kind of relate to that one more.
Yeah,
And I don't know, when you relate to a musician, I think the music's different.
I can understand that. Yeah.
You know, so that
Yeah.
and granted, I understand Recovery is more of his pop tunes if you really break it down, but I don't know. I think some of the songs are just I don't know.
I think
more
that
like
whole
me,
album
yeah.
is pretty much pop, but you
It
know.
is. No, it there's no doubt it is.
2 Trailer Park Girls go around the outside. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I need. I don't care what album that's from. 2 Trailer Park Girls go
The
around
second
the
one.
outside. I don't give a fuck. That's all I need. That is the most fun Eminem song ever. Fuck that Slim Shady bullshit. The first one that everybody hated. Hi, my name is. Fuck that.
No, everybody loved that album.
2 Trailer
Yeah.
Park Girls go
And-
around the outside. That's all I need.
Yeah, his best ones are like that one, the first Marshall Mathers LP. Those are his like best ones. Actually, the first Marshall Mathers LP is platinum.
Yeah, you're right.
I think it's his only platinum selling album.
And that relapse
you
with
don't-
aluminum.
No, it still went gold. Like no, it's actually still went. I'm sorry, I said platinum diamond. That's his first
Yeah.
10
diamond
million.
album.
Yeah.
All of his albums have gone platinum or better.
Well, good for him.
But
Means his fan base doesn't walk away on him like a bunch of other fucking fair weather bitches, like the Buffalo Bills. They didn't go Vontae Davis on him halfway through his career. They just stuck with it through and through. We'll talk
Smart
about
idea.
Vontae Davis later. What's on your mind? Not Vontae Davis, I hope.
No, but the NFL is.
Ah.
I'm kind of getting sick and tired of these. Can we figure out some fucking rules here? If
Oh,
you guys have
yeah.
actually checked out the and I do have one of these on the buy or sell, so I'm not gonna touch on that one, but I am gonna touch on the roughing the passer.
The one that almost fucked us on Sunday.
And the one that fucked us and then helped us on Sunday.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So,
It didn't help, but it didn't hurt.
no, because if you remember, I obviously didn't watch the game.
We had it on the we had the race in the
Well,
middle.
if you
Falcons
remember,
here, Vikings here. Yes.
once again, we got our hands on Aaron Rodgers
Yes.
and we sacked him, and they called roughing the passer on us.
That was yes, I can't remember his name, but I remember he came in like a ton of bricks.
He was heated though
Yes.
because it was the same thing as last time. And then I guess the refs must have felt bad because later on in that game, fourth quarter, with only like a minute so left, we decided to take a shot downfield, and Clay Matthews decides to hit Cousins with all his might, and they call roughing the passer. Now,
neither one of those hits were dirty.
As a Vikings fan, that is not roughing the passer. I'm going to tell you that right now. You intercepted that, the game was over at that point. However, and this is the problem I have, you're more than happy to scream roughing the passer when one of my dudes do it to Aaron Rodgers. But as soon as it turns the opposite way, now you're screaming at the NFL that they're not making the right decisions. Packers fans, sit down, shut the fuck up. This started because of you guys.
It's laundry
I want you to realize this, because this is called the Rodgers rule for a reason. All right.
I mean, they made a rule that wasn't catered to Brady.
It wasn't. This is
Okay,
to
just
Rodgers.
checking.
When you land on top of the quarterback, and they say, look, you put your weight on top of the quarterback, and there are a couple ways you can do this. One is lifting up and falling down, which Clay Matthews or my guy Barr did not do that. Neither one of them did. They were actually momentum. Exactly. I got news for you, NFL and Packers fans and Rodgers. These guys are 280 pounds, almost 300 pounds. When they're flying through the air, you cannot stop them, okay? When they land on top of you, they would love nothing more than to roll to the left side and not impact you as much as they probably feel like they can.
The NFL probably believes that all these players have that Madden 13 glitch, where if some of you had Madden 13, the first production run, if you could be in the middle of going to sack the quarterback, and the glitch your player would stop and run the other direction.
Yep. Yeah.
Just for no reason. Your hit stick is like fully engaged.
That's what they're doing.
No, I'm going to go this way.
It's funny because somebody brought up a really good point, and out of all the people in the world, it was Kurt Warner.
Okay.
And he said, I don't know about y'all, but I'm kind of getting sick and tired of seeing these overinflated offensive numbers. Now, this might sound weird coming from a member of the greatest show on turf, but it just doesn't seem like the defense is getting their show anymore. Now, I'm gonna follow up with that because I completely agree. Not long ago, or actually no, it was a lot longer than we really think. I think it's 4 years now. Peyton Manning's been retired.
Give or take 3 or 4, yeah.
I think it's about 4 years, man. Seriously. Remember when he retired and he's like 71,000, 72,000 yards total?
Mm-hmm.
Did you remember thinking to yourself, no one's getting to that?
I remember Marino having the record at 50,000, and then Breeze beat him just by a little bit, and he's still going.
Right.
And I'm thinking, well, Peyton's right behind him, but Breeze, no, he's got that. And then Peyton blew by him. Breeze had that 1 year where he didn't play, but then again, Peyton had the year he didn't play either. Right. And whatever. I didn't think anybody would beat Marino at 50,000 and change.
Long story short, how close is Breeze to beating Peyton Manning's record right now?
I'd have to look it up, but it's not close at all.
No, it is. It's actually a lot closer. It's 400 yards, dude.
400?
400 yards
for
him
I thought it was
to actually.
4,000.
No. Oh God, no. No, he's going to surpass him this year.
Well, good for Drew Brees.
Well,
it would be nice if the Saints fans had something to hang on to.
Now we're leading into what Kurt Warner was saying.
Mm-hmm.
The whole idea is the defense not important anymore. Should you just spend money on offense? Should you just get these big wide receivers and these big quarterbacks?
No.
Because you know what? They're going to call roughing the passer, and they're going to call pass interference anyways.
No, not only being an NFC fan, but being a fan of just hard-nosed football all my life.
I agree.
Lawrence Taylor, Jesse Tuggle, and those are just the middle linebackers. Let's go
dying breed.
Yeah, let's
not,
go to the
if
corners.
They played nowadays, they'd be suspended every game. They'd be tossed out every other game.
Probably. Now let's go to the nasty corners. To me, the sack is awesome. Whether it happens to my team or not. Yes, I get bent out of shape when Matt Ryan gets put on his ass, but who cares? When you see that defender pick off a ball and run it back for a touchdown, that's exciting. The forced fumble on a sack and one of the big burly 300-pound guys waddles it into the end zone. That's exciting.
With the game on the line.
Tired of seeing the same 3 shits every time. Either the long ball to your number 1 receiver or the short slant play where nobody's in the middle and your tight end goes running, or that straight up the middle run. It's boring. If you see it all the time, it's boring. Let the defense have their day, man. That's why they're there. Why not just take the defense off the field
real quick
and give them challenges like it's fucking Double Dare?
Just so we can all be on the same page. dirty hit against Cam Newton with your team this weekend.
It wasn't dirty at all.
Wasn't dirty. I agree.
It was a momentum hit. It was a momentum hit. The announcer said it. Everybody said it. The guy who they bring up from New York, the specialist guy, goes, I don't see why they called him and ejected him. That was not a dirty hit.
Like, the thing is, look, if you know that the quarterback is going to slide, we get this. We've been through this before. The problem is Cam Newton is not known to always slide. Cam Newton is known to sometimes dive for those yards. Cam Newton is also known to juke your ass.
Mm-hmm.
So, in his defense, the guy's looking for Cam Newton to do what he normally does.
Right. He's
you
a
know
modern-day Michael Vick. He's what Robert Griffin III should have been. He's that running threat.
Mm-hmm.
He can throw the ball long, he can throw the ball short, and he can kill you with his feet. It was funny watching Matt Ryan rumble his slow white ass into the end zone twice.
Stumbling.
And it looked like Carolina's defense was like, wait a minute, is that the white quarterback? Oh, shit.
He scored again.
Exactly.
What do you got, man?
I want to throw a shout out here. Three Sides of the Coin. You guys have heard us talk about them before. 300th episode aired today on YouTube, iTunes, wherever you can find them. And we got some pretty prime real estate, but that's our joy. If you have a chance, check out the episode. It was fun to see the groupings of not only fans, but some of their past guests and folks like us. We are fans, but we're friends with them. Really cool to see, and the episode is funny as hell. I've laughed more, and I'm still only 3/4 of the way through it, as I told Tommy earlier today when he sent me the message. Have you watched the show or listened to it on iTunes? I'm trying. I'm in the middle of doing things with work. I'm trying. I'm about 3/4 of the way through it. I'm enjoying myself, and I can't give them enough credit for helping us to become what we are, and just too much fun. But I'm not going to pay any bills. We're just waiting a couple more minutes for Mandy Meloon, and around the table, you guys have all had a chance, I believe, in the last week to read this fantastic article, Fighting Back, about the young ladies from the Taekwondo Association. There's Mandy right there in the middle, Miss Mandy Malone.
The one on the left looks like a young
Vicky Guerrero?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. What did you guys think of what you read? Is that not some depraved shit?
You know what? It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't shock me. I think I think Santa Claus could come in here, slap me with his purple dildo that smelled like reindeer vagina, and I would not be surprised anymore. I really would not. It doesn't.
Is that not the most sucky thing about our society now?
No, it really is. It really, dude, it pisses me off, actually. It really pisses me off that I have this kind of like, whatever, I've heard it all now. I've specifically swear I think I've heard it all. Like, I mean, we've covered so much on this show, just in this show, that's made me lose so much faith in human beings. It's absolutely.
It's how we keep our eyes open.
It's absolutely disgusting, man. I mean, fuck. Just today, you heard about was it the Iowa State golf champion there.
I briefly heard something about this. Yes.
So she's very promising. She's a great athlete. She's supposed to be one of the best promising golfers to come out of Iowa in a long fucking time. This fucking her not boyfriend, because they weren't boyfriends. They were seeing each other or whatever, killed her out of a fit of rage. And
that one. Yeah. All right.
Out of a fit of rage and killed her on a goddamn golf course. I mean,
if that's just not twisting the knife, not to have a shitty pun here, but your love is golf. That'd be like if somebody stabbed me and put me on the start-finish line of Daytona. Just here you
get
go.
like run over like a bazillion times.
Well, I think they would see a big fat white boy on the track, but you're right. That exactly.
But no, it's really, you know what? It's really disgusting. It really is disgusting that people just feel like they have the right to treat other human beings like this. I mean, at one point I think it shocked and it scared me, but at this point I really think like even that sweet old lady that's walking through Walmart could be your demise.
Well,
and you got to be ever vigilant and always paying attention to stupid shit like that.
I think maybe it's a generational divide.
No, I think even the old people get sick of it.
No.
I think they fucking freak out too, man.
The treatment, like the gentleman in question, and we'll probably be talking about Gene Lopez a lot during this interview, is that Gene Lopez is from a generation where I'm your coach. You do what I say. I do what I want. Then there's the middle generation where we're like, we have to keep our eyes on a swivel. Doesn't matter what we do.
Mhm.
And then we have today's generation where coach says, run a lap. It's too hot.
Yeah. I'm going to tell my mom.
My mom says I need 2 Gatorades instead of 1.
The same mother that's going to come down and bitch to me that you ain't having no playtime.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to turn to that mom and say, I didn't put your son on the fucking field because he complained it's too hot. Well, it's really fucking hot out right now, and I don't want him collapsing on the field. So,
Mm-hmm. I pulled a young lady from a game because she was sweating bullets. She was our catcher. You're sweating bullets. I was like, all right, come out of the game. We're going to put the other. Here comes Dad, who at the beginning of the game was like, hey, can you watch her? Can you make sure she's not catching the whole game, et cetera? So if I took her out, why are you taking her out of the game? Because she just lost 4 pounds of water weight, and I'm the coach. Get back on the other side of the fence. Oh, she's the best chance you have to win. She's the best catcher you have. Yes, she is. She's also sweating bullets, and I don't want her to die. You don't coach this team. I don't come to your house, tell your kids how to mow the fucking lawn. Don't come here, tell me how to coach your fucking kids.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have that anymore. And these Lopez guys come from a whole long family that they've been in the taekwondo business forever. Like
and that's just it. That's a dangerous point. That's when you become what you feel
Joe
as
Paterno,
untouchable.
Marge Schott, Jerry Sandusky, Larry Nasser. The names go on and on.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this so long, and I've built up such a reputation that I could slap you in the face with a 2-ton hammer, crush in your skull, and go.
Which pretty much did.
I didn't do that.
Which you pretty much did to her persona. You know what I'm saying?
Her psyche.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I don't want to take too much away from when Mandy comes on, but you're a coach. I'm a coach. You have kids, 2 sons playing football at different times. I have the stepdaughter and the regular daughter, both of whom have got on the sports field.
Y'all know my love for football.
You are coming up and going to have to.
Football.
Yep, you're coming up having to deal with whatever Anna's going to decide to do with her life. Probably either she's going to be a mercenary or an armed robber. I figured this out. That's Anna's future right there. She's either going to be a merc for the government and shoot people for money, or she's going to be robbing liquor stores, but she's not going to kill the people she robs.
I don't know. Watching her play Minecraft, I'm thinking architect.
Good. Let's keep her on that road. But
so
there are
going to
be
Deadpool
people,
Gwen.
Right. There's going to be people she's going to trust. And we tell the kids, trust your teachers, trust this person, trust the coach, trust this. And more and more and more.
You know what's sad? I don't. Not no more.
You can't almost anymore.
Not my kids. Not now. Now they're in high school. I tell them all the time, watch your asses.
Mm-hmm.
Watch your asses. Anything weird, you tell me. I want to know about it. I do, because you can't trust these fucking people. You can't, man. You can't. You cannot trust these people no more. You can't. It's sad and it sucks, but you can't. You can't.
It is a sad day because I trusted my coaches with the exception of one.
Yeah.
But all of them throughout my lifetime. Coach says you should run on 3-2, run on 3-2. If the coach says, hang back and, if you're playing center field, hang back, the left fielder has a better range. He'll come in and catch the ball on a fly ball.
You knew he had experience.
Exactly. The coach knew what he was talking about. Now, if I tell a girl, back up 3 steps, she looks at me with one finger in her nose and one up her ass. Like, what am I supposed to do? Is there donuts when this is over?
Yeah. Did somebody bring cookies and juice boxes?
My mom said we're getting pizza after the game. What kind should I get? Play the fucking game first. Shut up. Just kills me, but
no,
Mandy's gonna be here soon enough.
I think it is. It's a sad day when hell, you even think about it for Boy Scouts and for Girl Scouts. I mean, they're having the same issues now. You can't take
just
these
the Scouts
kids.
now.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't let us get on.
My bad.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll come right back with Mandy Malone. This past week, Sports Illustrated presented this article right here that you're seeing on the live stream called Fighting Back, detailing 3 young ladies in the Taekwondo world who basically had their psyche shattered doing something they loved by someone they trusted. And one of those young ladies is on the phone right now. Please welcome United States Taekwondo badass herself, Miss Mandy Meloon. Mandy, how are you tonight?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys?
Doing great. Welcome, Mandy. How are you?
Thank you.
All right. So we were talking to you just about a minute ago, testing your sound, and one of the things that we wanted to ask is, this is not something you picture a young lady getting into, is Taekwondo. Sometimes they take ballet classes, karate classes, softball. Taekwondo, though, how did you get involved in this?
Well, my dad was a really, really good athlete growing up, and his whole thing is he understood that if you want to be the best at what you do in a sport, you have to start super young.
Yes.
And his thing was baseball, and then he joined the military and had me and my brother really young, and he always was interested in martial arts. So he had my brother join when he was 5, and then I would go to the classes, and then he put me in when I was 7.
Wow. How quickly did you take to it?
Honestly, if I am completely honest, I hated it because I would go to the hour class, and then we'd get home and we'd have to train anywhere to 4 to 6 additional hours.
Wow. And this is just while you were living at home with mom and dad?
Yes, and
Oh.
that was from the age of 7 until I was 13, and that's why I ended up being as good as I was. 'Cause
Your dad had like that Bruce Lee mentality going on there.
well, I would think no, would be more the military style training
Right.
mentality. Yeah, we train on a military base and a lot of military type stuff. But at a certain point, he knew that he could only take us so far.
So do you guys move around a lot being a military family?
Constantly, every 2 to 4 years.
Wow, yeah. So you were constantly getting up there, making those new friends, and was that an easy way to get into being friendships, or did people kind of look at you being different, kind of being as as good as you were at Taekwondo?
Well, I mean, luckily for me and my brother, we lived in a military base or a neighborhood, so you had like built-in friends right next door, and there were a
Right.
lot of kids. But as soon as dad got home, it was time to train, and so we kind of had 2 lives, and the main one was training.
A lot of yes,
So
sir, no, sir going on in the house.
no, I don't remember that. I mean, you have that in the traditional aspect when you go to a taekwondo school, but I mean, my dad never made us call him sir or anything like that.
Wow, that's pretty odd. Most of the military families I hear is a lot of yes, sir, no, sir. Wow.
No. I mean, we didn't do a lot of talking. We did mostly listening.
Ah, speaking less spoken to. More kids today
Yeah.
need that.
Yeah,
The
I
way
agree.
mine mouth off to me, I swear to God. But anyway, so you said you did this intense training from the age of 6 to the age of 13, somewhere in that 13-year-old area. Somebody, you caught somebody's eye in the Taekwondo world.
Yeah, I mean, I would call it being discovered because by the time I was 13, I was pretty burnt out. Uh, and my dad found an advertisement for a camp at the Olympic Training Center. And so he thought that it would be a good idea to send me out there if it was a junior camp and you stay and you train with the best. And so he thought that might be something
Bring a
that
little
would be
life
good
back
for
to it.
me. Yeah.
And was this the Lopez camp?
Absolutely not. At that point, Gene Lopez was just on the national team. There's like 8 men and 8 women,
Right.
and he was just a resident. Like they have the actual Olympic Training Center team, and he lived there. And he had a coach who was in charge of the Olympic team and all that. So at that point, no.
Okay.
So you're at this point you're really into it. You're pretty much a teen athlete at this point, and a lot of people like a teen actor. You give up a lot of things, to have this passion that you have. And it sounds like this wasn't exactly like your passion. It seems like it was more your father's, but you were kind of
It
stepping.
absolutely wasn't, and it wasn't even about giving up anything when it wasn't mine to have because it wasn't my choice. Like, it was my
Right.
father's choice, and I just ended up being extremely good at it. And what comes with that is it's like your identity, and that's how you get approval, especially your father's approval.
Right. And did
And
that mean a lot to you? That approval from your father? Was that big for you?
It was everything because I mean
Right.
that was what in our family. I mean that was the number one thing was sports. So, and my dad was the kind of dad who second place wasn't good enough, especially in our sport. It's a one man sport, you know, first, second, third, and
Right. Right.
second's just the first loser. And it
Mm.
wasn't in a. When I look back on it, you know, because I had to process a lot of it. I mean, he knew that I was the best, and there wasn't any reason why I shouldn't be winning. But sometimes it just doesn't go your way, you know.
And maybe that's a point that a lot of the younger people, not that we have a lot of young listeners, we're pretty vulgar at times, but a lot of young people should listen to what you just said. Practice is the way to get better at what you do, not waiting for the donuts after the game and saying that, my mom thinks I'm the best pitcher on the team, or my dad says I'm the best quarterback simply because he thinks so. You are a product of hard work and dedication, and I think that is a fantastic role model figure that young ladies and young men in general can both look at and say, if I practice hard enough and I work hard enough, I can do this too.
Well, my father, like, you can get a black belt in a lot of schools in like a year or two, and my dad would not let us test every time. And it took me, I was 7 years old, and I didn't get my first black belt till I was 12 because he wanted us to be ready, and that was super important. And like you said, I mean, I wasn't, I mean, I had the athletic ability, but as far as being the best at, I literally was repetition every day, all day.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I never had a break. It was
Yeah.
nonstop.
Talent is born, and expertise takes time.
Absolutely.
Did you ever take any of this frustration out on your opponents? I saw a couple videos where you looked pretty intense there.
Um, Here's the craziest part. I remember, I hated fighting. Even at the earliest age, I hated having to go in the ring and fight people. But once I got into the ring, it was one of those deals like, okay, I'm in the ring, and I mean, especially in I call it combat sports. Let's call it that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I truly and utterly believe, and you'll hear it a lot. You either have it or you don't. Like my
Agreed.
brother, was technically thousands of times more talented physically than me, but I had like that thing that you need to get into a fight because it is a fight.
Yeah.
So, as far as taking my frustrations out, no. If anything, when I look back, I tended to not hurt people as much as I could have because I knew what it felt like to be hurt.
Right. And that goes
And
back to a former guest of ours that we've had as MMA star Blair Tugman. It's not so much about the fight that he enjoys, it's about the competition, testing himself, and if he wins, even better.
well, the part that I enjoyed the most was honestly like the training because the fighting part there was always so much pressure in the general sense, especially if you don't. I wouldn't say I didn't have a passion for it because I don't think I would have done it as long as I did if I didn't enjoy it to some degree. But like as far as sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
No problem.
That you were
Shoot.
talking about how you hated fighting.
Yeah, like I just because of the pressure aspect, because there's so much on the line, especially in our sport. What happens is you have once a year you have to a team trial to make the team, okay? And you're training every day, all day. In Taekwondo, you might maybe get Christmas off. You have to make weight, and if you don't win this competition, like I'm not kidding, your life's over. In a general, like really, it is like that's your job.
Right.
In our sport, second place, you're off the team. So all of that, it didn't feel good. And like when I would win, it was more like, okay, hey dad, I won. Wasn't really for me, but it was also for me to keep a roof over my head.
There's like actual people that invest and sponsor these things, right? So they take it pretty seriously.
Not so much in our sport now because the way it's set up is that, and I think it's worse now that I left, but everything was paid for only if you're on the national team, that one spot, okay, it's one spot per weight division, 8 men, 8 women. One person makes that spot, and if you make that spot, they'll pay for your travel. And you
Wow.
might
Oh,
get a
okay.
stipend, but if you're not in those top 8, and that's 16 people in the whole U.S.,
Yeah, I was gonna say out of all those
yeah,
people,
you
thousands
don't,
of millions of people.
yeah, there's no sponsorship. I mean, maybe now they might do fundraisers and stuff, but from what I heard, even now they have to partially pay now even to travel on the national team, and we never had that problem.
So I was gonna say, bronze medal, 2005 championship, Germany. Take us there real quick.
Um, that was honest, honestly a horrible tournament because the night before my competition, I was physically attacked by a team member the night before, a male team member, and I had to fight with a broken rib, and I couldn't tell
Ooh.
anybody.
Like
Yeah,
you got into a physical altercation with him?
yeah, yeah. In our hotel room the night before.
Damn.
Really?
What'd the hotel room look like?
No, it was I was 103 pounds. He was 6'4", and I mean he assaulted me and jumped on top of me and cracked my rib the night before. So the next day I had to fight like that, and the doctor even was like, he had to wrap my ribs, and he's like, "What happened? You were fine yesterday," and I couldn't say anything. So,
Oh.
Ugh.
Now,
but it was
go
on
ahead.
the flip, it was a great thing too, because my grandfather, who's German, and Germany was dying at the time, and I was able to bring him the medal and share that experience with
Yeah, I
him.
was gonna say
So.
That's
I saw
fantastic.
a lot of the videos, and it looked like it was a pretty, like if there was any pain going on, you hit it very well. I mean, obviously from the stories that we've read, yeah, I mean it's a sad thing, but you're pretty good at hiding the pain apparently.
Well, we all are because I mean, Taekwondo is a full contact sport, and in training, there's not a lot of girls to begin with. So I grew up being, I mean, beat up by guys in a general sense,
Right.
and so when you have to fight a girl, it's not so hard, and then you're constantly having injuries. So
Yeah, but you don't expect it to be from your own team member the night before a tournament.
It-
well, it has to go with everything, in the Sports Illustrated. It
Right.
was with
right.
an ex, yeah, it was with an ex-boyfriend, and he was on the national team, and this was something that was kind of ongoing, but it was behind closed doors, and
Which
he
makes it even
begged,
more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and he was the superstar, the
Right.
Olympic superstar, so
Well, since Mandy's already cracked the egg, we might as well start mentioning Steven and Jean Lopez, which I think we've already mentioned Jean once before. You got recruited, I guess you'd say, with the Lopez's into the United States team, and you were doing well, but then the darkness started to come in. And I know the Sports Illustrated takes us only so far. And if you guys have ever listened to our show more than 15 minutes, you know that our friend Jimmy Wisman and the Crime and Sports guys have covered Mandy
Hmm.
before. You get to hear, between Sports Illustrated and Wisman and Petrogallo, you get to hear so much about this story. But Mandy, we kind of want to hear it in your own words. You're recruited onto the Lopez's team, and the quote I have here is, just to start it off, is Heidi Gilbert. Even by Taekwondo standards, life at the Lopez gym was especially insular. It was like a cult. How true is that?
well, I was the one who initially reported it, that it wasn't like a cult, it was a cult, because when I finally got out and I had a lot of, when I say mental health issues, I have really bad PTSD, and the only thing I could relate to and I got any kind of relief from was like how they treat victims who left a cult on top of women who've been sexually assaulted, and I
Mm-hmm.
could relate to that and kind of put a lot of perspective on what I
That's
had been dealing
so
with.
they tried different things, and the one that actually effectively worked for you was the same effective relief that they use for people that actually leave cults.
Like
Yep.
deprogramming,
That is crazy.
basically.
That is crazy.
Yes.
Now, not just, and I know we're going to talk about the sexual assault, not the details. Obviously, we're not sick and demented, although some people think we are. There were also like physical abuses. Someone, I believe in this article, I believe it was Miss Gilbert, that said one of the coaches had them climb to the top of Pikes Peak and said, "Come down, no food, no water." It took them 12 and a half hours to do it, and then made them do it again a month later.
Well, I can't speak for Heidi, but I had the same coach, and even growing up with my father being military, I mean, we trained extremely hardcore, and even in martial arts, you'll hear crazy stories about what they do, to test their endurance. And at the Olympic Training Center, a lot of times he would have us do crazy hikes and just endurance type stuff. So to me, that wasn't really shocking or surprising. But in Heidi's incident, though, it was like life threatening
Right.
for us. For my experience at with that
That
coach,
was
it was,
Club Med.
yeah. But like to be left on the top of a mountain, when a storm could come in and like having no water, yeah. But I never had those experiences like that, the one that she had.
So, without going into the hows, the whys, and the what happens, can you remember how old you were when the first assault was brought upon you by was it Gene Lopez?
Um, um, I was 13. It was literally the first time I met him, and I count this as being assaulted because number one, I was 13. I was a child,
Hmm.
and he was in a position of power, and the first words out of his mouth was that I looked like his girlfriend and telling me about his sex life.
Yeah, at
How old was he?
13,
How
yeah,
old was he at the
that's yeah,
time?
that's
Do you
I
know?
bel He had to have been at least uh 21 or 24,
Let me
within that
explain.
range.
If a 21-year-old ever said that to my 13-year-old stepdaughter, either I'd be in jail.
I think we just talked about this last week.
We did.
We literally just talked about this last week. There's no room for that whatsoever.
No.
Hell, as a 13-year-old man or male at that, I know how I felt. I know where my hormones were. I know where my questions were. So to hear these things come from what you consider as your coach or a mentor, I
You're
mean that.
supposed to trust these
Yeah,
people.
you got to be like, whoa, what did I just
Well,
hear?
what made it worse was that he was a camp counselor. Like the adults that were on that team who lived there were assigned groups of kids.
Right.
So I mean, he knew better, and it wasn't like I mean, and I shouldn't have to say this, but when I was 13, I looked 13, I acted 13, I looked like a little 12-year-old boy, like.
Hmm.
But for whatever reason, I mean, and I learned years later. I mean, I wasn't the first or last. So.
Well, we also, I mean, being 13-year-old men, we grew
At
up a
the
little,
time.
right, exactly. We grew up a little differently, but there were some 13-year-old girls out there that definitely didn't look 13. They definitely looked like 18.
Oh, yeah.
But just like you said, they were still 13. They were still mentally in their minds. You're just not at that page.
It's really
And for somebody,
disappointing.
it is for somebody to be in that level and that at that stage to do that to somebody. It is.
Well, you
It's-
think too, like in terms of like just being fans of martial arts, like our whole lives since we saw our first Bruce Lee movie, you think a certain level of righteousness, respect, and
Respect.
honor.
Thank you.
The big word is
Exactly.
honor.
Yes.
And when you find out, like, no, it's just like every other sleazy
is.
coach.
Yeah,
And
it's
before,
like,
exactly.
just before, I just want to say this as the father and the stepfather of two young ladies, and as a coach of young ladies, as a softball coach for these young ladies, you want the coach to trust you, and you want the coach to care for you. You want to trust them, but you want the coach to care for you. And when I can't even fathom right now. I knew this was going to be hard for me, Mandy. I apologize, but for the love of God,
So we know the
Go,
relationship
Mike.
that you
Thank
have
you.
with your father. Essentially, you're in this place. You're in this dark place. You finally find the courage to speak out, and essentially, you're called a liar, pretty much from everybody. You turn to your dad. What was that like? Because I know you said that you have a huge respect for your father. So everybody else is calling you a liar. At this point, do you turn to him with the same respect? Do you hide it from him?
Well, let me just go back to the 13-year-old thing real quick
Yeah.
because this is kind of helpful. And
Yeah, no problem.
One of the main reasons I even agreed to do this was because there are some things I think it's important for parents to hear. Is like, I'm 13, okay, and my parents, who didn't have a lot of money, spent this money to send me out there. They look up to, this program's presented as like prestigious.
Hmm.
These are supposed to be like the top of the top people. So when Gene started talking to me like this and behaving this way towards me, even at 13, I knew this was not right. And
Right.
I also had limited knowledge of any kind of sex education because honestly, from the age of 7 to 13, I spent most of my time with my dad.
And being trained.
Me and my dad were not having these conversations. I mean, and as a parent now, I think it's important you need to start having conversations. Even my daughter's 4, and we start at baby 4-year-old level. What's appropriate, what's not, right?
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
don't blame my parents, but you know, in hindsight, it's 2020. But I mean, I didn't really, I knew it was wrong, but I didn't understand what I was dealing with. But I just knew it was wrong. But also, I didn't want to tell my parents because I didn't want to upset my dad.
But it was a
Right.
different time. You're, if I'm doing my math right from the article, you're 37 now, correct?
I was born in '81.
81. So about this time, it's the early 90s. It was a different culture back then. Yes, you had the commercials with what was the short kid's name?
Well, there's a
Emmanuel
reason why I
Lewis.
had
No,
those.
say no, then go and tell. And it was just starting to bubble that if this happens, this is wrong. And I agree with all of it. It's wrong.
And you're still the parents of
But
that
this,
generation.
I mean, and also, this is the last place this should have happened.
Yes,
Exactly.
I agree.
1000%.
I think, and this is the point that me and Ed were trying to make earlier. You know what? With football and with baseball, it's a different thing. We held martial arts to a higher thing. Maybe because that word honor is
Well,
so
that's
cheaply
why-
used.
That's why a lot of these guys get into this sport or even this martial arts because they have that cover of you do what I say, you call me
Nobody's
master.
watching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because baseball's got their corruption, football's got
Yes.
its corruption. Everybody's watching. Nobody's. It's not even televised.
Right.
Nobody's
Well,
watching.
No,
it.
exactly.
Not to, I don't want to cast dispersions upon the Taekwondo world because people take it seriously. I love seeing it.
We took it seriously.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But like you said, when the eyes of the world is focused on, say, the steroid thing in baseball or the quarterback thing in football or the gambling thing in basketball, whose eyes are cast upon Taekwondo? And Mandy was the first, if I'm reading this correctly, to speak out, and still nobody turned their eyes that way. Nobody. I think his
Well-
name was David Askenass. Basically said in very corporate speak, "You're full of shit."
Well, I mean, they once I reported it in person, literally walked into the office of the U.S. Olympic Committee in Taekwondo, and I knew that no matter what, if I put this in writing and gave it to them, it was official. Even if they didn't
Right.
do something about it right then, this was huge, and it's in writing and it's official, and everyone knew that this stuff was going on, but nobody would report it, and so even when they try to say I was a liar or whatnot, everybody knew the truth. That's why even to this day, my stories have never changed, and I've never
Right.
been sued by Gene or Steven, or like
hmm
because I mean the truth is the truth, no matter how many years it takes. And it's not like the movies Law and Order where they're gonna solve a case and no, really, like
No,
in
no.
24
I laugh
hours.
because you are absolutely right. Everybody thinks it is like
48
that.
minutes,
Like
3
they
commercials.
really do, but no.
Exactly.
Like truth and justice really can take decades. Like it really can take longer than that, and a lot of people
Well,
don't realize that.
The two things that are like really upsetting for me though that it took so long is because I wrote in 2006 that if they don't stop him, then he will continue to assault people,
hmm
which he has, and then also, um, not only was the whole sexual assault stuff with the women, but a teammate of mine committed suicide when he was 19 because
Oh.
of these guys when he was training with us, and that isn't being covered that much in the media because of our teammates' family. But I mean, that was the catalyst for me to report. It wasn't so much what was happening to me, but what had happened to my.
Now you
teammates.
said 2006 that you said that these guys would continue to do this. 2005 is when you were attacked by your own teammate. So you were within a year. You had to deal with him too.
Oh, constantly because there was only one place to train at that point, and that was in Texas. And me and him had been in a relationship, and I had ended the relationship, but that was an issue, and that was like a separate thing where it's not only like within Taekwondo, but it's like what do you call it? Domestic violence within
Right.
a relationship. Yeah.
So you're dealing with him and you're dealing with Lopez.
Yeah, and at that point, Lopez, it wasn't anything sexual, because I had been involved with his brother, and also, to be quite frank, I was too old for him, and I was
Right.
more of like harassment at work, and with money and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a sad state of affairs when she says I was too old for him, and you were like 19ish at the time.
I was too old for him by the time I was 18.
Exactly. That's a sad state of affairs right there, and that scares me. Going back to my girls again, it just
Yeah.
scares the ever loving hell out of me.
It's amazing because I won't even talk to a girl unless she can buy her own liquor. Like
It's probably a good rule to go by. Let's
I
be
agree.
honest.
honestly, it's just the way I've always been.
Holy
Even
crap.
when
Yeah.
I was 12.
Oh
So-
my god.
When you finally come out of this, everything is, you have all these backers out of the way. And I love this quote from you, by the way. And I'm going to quote you real quick. Where were y'all 11 years ago? I absolutely love this line because you know what? A lot of people, when they're doing this whole hashtag Me Too thing, they weren't yelling it then. And you were not only yelling it, but you were standing on top of the mountain screaming with a microphone and a bullhorn, listen to me. And everybody kept saying, you're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar. You finally come out and all of a sudden you got all these fans. And the only thing you have to say to them was, where were y'all 11 years ago? I love it. I love it. I think you're staying true. Like you said, the truth never changes. And your story has never changed this whole time. And it's sad how it plays out. It really is sad.
When I said that, it was more of being like exhausted because I came out of while I was in prison, the FBI came to see me, newspapers,
Mm-hmm.
The investigator, and it kind of surprised me. It was like, oh wow, they're opening this up again. And then when I come out, I literally had people like, we support you, we believe you, and that's why it was like, where were you 11 years ago? Because it wasn't that I'm over it, but I have a 4-year-old daughter, and like, there's
Are
nothing
you afraid for her? Like, even though you can give her everything to look forward to and look out
I'm more
for.
afraid, like as a parent, if you guys are parents,
Oh,
sometimes
absolutely.
you
Yes.
I got
lay
2
at
teenage
night.
boys, and I have.
Yeah, like more on a parent level of
Right.
like, you can't always protect. It's crazy. Oh, what if they die or like
Mhm.
something happens, but not in a general sense of like of this happening, because like right now she's living with my mom while I'm in Austin, and I call my mom Grandma Bear. She's not left alone with anybody.
Right.
We're teaching her. I mean, we're doing the best that we can, but not in the sense of like I'm not one of these people's like, oh, I'm
Oh, yeah,
terrified.
shelter. Right.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
No, you still got to let your children live, but like I said, we live in a very scary time. People are, I mean, you can just Google anything nowadays. We were just talking about it before the show even aired. We live in a time now where I'm not really surprised by anything anymore. I mean, it doesn't shock me, and that scares me. That actually scares me.
Yeah. Now I'm just thinking like, and that it reminds me, like I always tell people talking about everything. Imagine being 13 years old and surrounded by all these adults who are supposed to be like these important people, and feeling like not only knowing that everything around you that's going on is wrong, but that like not that you're the smartest, but this isn't right.
Right.
This is something not right, and that was really hard for me because I had to teach myself, a bunch of stuff and like look out for myself. I mean, there's good stuff in that, and then there's like terrible stuff. Like as a parent, never ever would I want that for my daughter.
No,
Ever.
the feeling of being alone and being empty and not knowing who to go to. I can't even imagine what you put yourself through.
One of the things I take away from listening to all this, and again, being the father of 2 little girls, not so little anymore, but what have you, is that you had the courage to speak up at the time when enough was enough. You can't take it anymore. I'm going to say something. You didn't wait 30 years. You didn't wait 40 years. You didn't wait till someone ran for political office. You didn't wait till someone had a production company in Hollywood. You said, this is wrong. I'm going to stand up for myself. And basically, like we mentioned just a few minutes ago, they didn't believe you. And as a
Well,
young
that's
lady,
not
in
okay.
your, go
Let
ahead.
me interrupt you. Let me
Sure.
interrupt because I hate it when people say this. They believe me. They knew because the reason I did it, besides Eric's suicide, is that I kept getting phone calls of girls who were being raped on the team, and I would take them into my home. Their parents would contact David Skinas, the Olympic Committee. Everybody knew about it, and I was like, this is enough. Like,
Right.
they all knew. It wasn't like people didn't know, and I also knew that it was not gonna end well for me. I knew it, but for some reason, and my dad's this way too. Like, right is right and wrong is wrong. There's no middle ground, and that's not always
Right.
popular, but that's just the way it is.
Popularity
The way I
doesn't
grew
pay
up.
the bills, and I agree with your dad, and I agree with you here. But you had the strength to come forward and say something like not far after the fact. You didn't wait 30 years. And one of the things that bothers me about a lot of these cases that we hear about today is that, hey, 35 years ago, so and so touched me or did this or did that, whether there's truth behind it or not. You never know nowadays, especially in a litigation happy society, who's right and who's wrong. But you had
Yeah.
this army of young ladies behind you. This happened to me as well. That you guys could have easily been hashtag before hashtag was cool. Me too. All of you.
Well, my experience too, though, is because not only did I say and the reason I said at first what happened to me because in my sport I was like the Mike Tyson in a good way of my sport,
Mm-hmm.
man or woman, and I said, look, if this is happening to me, the toughest, strongest chick right now fighting, if this is happening to other people. And after I reported, I told all the other people's stories, especially the ones I took in my home, and they still would not speak. Not only wouldn't they speak for themselves, they spoke against me, some of them, because they were
Ooh.
scared and they were bullied.
Right.
So now, it took them some time. And also, like, in my position at that point, I didn't care. I didn't care what my parents thought. I didn't care about my friends. I didn't give a shit about my job. But other people have other things going on, careers, family.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn to respect that too. And you get what I'm saying?
Oh,
So
that's pretty big. Let me say this: you're 37 now. This is all going on when you're like
Teens and 20s.
teens and
26.
20s, right?
Yeah.
For you to have the maturity to even think of other people's careers and other people's well-being
While sacrificing
that's
your own.
for me. I will honestly say that's impressive.
Mhm.
That's impressive because at 26 I was thinking when I'm gonna have enough money to eat at Boston Market. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't give a shit about other people's well-being at 26. And for that statement alone, I have such respect for just those words alone. That is incredible. That is incredible for you to say
I'm
that.
curious about something too. 'Cause, you mentioned the Olympic Commission. There's also a Taekwondo Association, correct?
Yeah, it's like you have all the sports, and then you have the U.S. Olympic Committee, and the U.S. Olympic Committee really is only involved when it's the Olympics. But all my checks were written by them, and my health insurance was through them. But you're a member of your association, whether it be gymnastics, swimming, boxing.
Now, did the association get involved at all, or?
Are you kidding me? They're the ones that their office was in the same building at the Olympic Training
Okay.
Center.
All right,
And
that's where I wanted to
yeah.
clarify. So
Of
they
course.
were in the loop then. Or-
Oh, yeah, they were in the loop for the last 2 years. 'Cause
Right.
it took a year. I reported it. They lied to me and said they would do something, and then they told me don't report it to the police. It's too late, which was not true. And then it got worse from
So
there.
they're just as
Oh, so
culpable.
I was
then.
gonna say, yeah, they're more worried about covering their own tracks as
'Cause
well.
you would think an association like that would want to cut the cancer out of their sport.
No, which is why
And
Balco
instead-
got away with what they did for years
Right.
because the
Yeah.
Olympic Committee is in bed with all of these people so they can grab funds. And if you rock the boat or make a wave, they're nah.
Go back in time a little bit. I remember a black belt article where they were. I can't remember who they were talking to. Who's the big Taekwondo guy when we were growing up there? Philip Ree.
Yes, right.
Sounds
I
familiar.
think it was
Yeah.
Philip Ree, and they were talking about Taekwondo, and he made a statement that I thought was kind of interesting, where he said, like Korea and the Taekwondo Association lost control of the sport, which is why he wasn't really involved anymore.
Right.
It belonged to the office.
Yeah.
Well, and you have to understand, like, we were going to the 2008 Olympics, and there's only 4 spots: 2 men, 2 women. the team was gonna be Steven Lopez, Mark Lopez, Diana Lopez, then me, and Gene was the coach. So when I reported this stuff,
Yeah.
who are they gonna get rid of?
Exactly.
Wow, yeah.
They're all in bed with the committee, and that's one of the things that bothered me was that not that this family was great at coaching. I mean, from what I've read, not just a Sports Illustrated article, but every article I've ever read, these guys were phenomenal coaches. They just weren't phenomenal human beings.
No, they were phenomenal martial artists too. They
Correct.
just they
Well,
were
and
not
I
great
beg to
mates.
differ on that. From my experience, because the way we trained, we were the ones who actually trained, right?
Right.
And a lot of these coaches just wanted to sit in the chair or be in the room. Because, I mean, when we're out there, the coach, yeah, he can sit in the chair and kind of tell you what to do. But, I mean, none of us really had, like, strong, healthy relationships with these
So
people.
they weren't going the Blair Tugman, Randy Couture route and being active on the mat with you guys. They're kind of sitting on the side saying, throw this kick and do this.
They're not the Gracie family.
Oh, great,
Well, I mean,
great.
like, as far as the Lopez's, of course, he's invested. Those are his siblings, right?
Right.
But otherwise, in general, and a lot of times we go on a national team and you weren't allowed to bring a personal coach, so you'd have some random dude who paid 10 grand to be there coach you. So you're doing it on your own.
He paid 10 grand to be there.
Yeah, back in the day, you could pay 10,000. You get a warm up as like a team sponsor, and you could coach and be a team like leader.
I'm wondering if the Cleveland Browns and the Buffalo
Wow,
Bills
that's
aren't doing this
crazy.
right now
That's
in the NFL.
crazy.
I'm reminded of that scene in Bloodsport. Duke's my man. And he's
Yeah,
like handing
Duke's
out
my
money.
man.
handing
What's
out
the
the
money?
money.
So,
Go ahead, Mike.
Fast forward to nowadays, like today, present time. Steve McNally, I'm sorry, seems to be pretty much in your corner. He's saying, if there's anything that you need, reach out to him and things like that. Too late?
With Steve, I feel like unfortunately he came in, into this mess, and I believe he really is doing the best that he can with what he's trying to do. The
Right.
only issue I have at this point is as of I got out of prison in February and I reached out to him like, hey, I need counseling, I need help.
Right.
And I still haven't received the help, and neither have any of the other girls. So that's my issue. Like, if you really want to help,
And that's
where's
really
that?
not a lot. I mean, you're literally talking about getting some psychiatric help here. I mean, literally dish out a check here and there. So, yeah. So that's what I kind of thought. A lot of people, just to save the whole PR, will say what needs to be said, sort of say. But I knew with
But
you being in there,
I do believe though behind the closed doors, as far as like what's going on with the lawsuit and the politics, he is trying to do what's right. So
good. Well, I'm
But
I'm
that
hoping
does-
that
that
he does that
doesn't-
for you.
yeah, that doesn't help us. You know what I mean?
You mentioned going to prison, and that was something that, again, I'm going to reference Crime and Sports, and we have a really great ending when we get to the end of this interview. You have a big deal going on with Crime and Sports coming up soon. I don't want to blow it for everybody yet, but
Yeah, I know, but I mean, this other thing is I might end up having to go to Washington on like Washington D.C.
ooh,
doing something with Congress on the 2nd. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that. I'm not happy about it, but we'll see what happens.
Wouldn't you rather talk to someone more useful?
like Wisman's the man.
I know, but I don't like to say I'm doing something and not do it.
I
you know?
understand.
No, exactly.
But
exactly.
the way the way the name Mandy Meloon came into my reference was because I am a big fan of Crime and Sports and Small Town Murder. Heard the episode, and it was probably the only episode of Crime and Sports where I'm like,
Well, there was no murder.
not just murder, but you're at the end of the episode, you're like, God damn, I hope this girl comes out on the other side, because what a horrific story. What was for our listeners' sake, because I already know the answer to this, and Ed listened to that episode on the way here.
Not done with it yet.
Okay,
Halfway.
well, you're about to get a little spoiler here. What was it that got you into prison? And we know you're out. Obviously, you're talking to us. It's obvious you came out better on the other side.
Oh yeah, I mean honestly, prison saved my life because
wow.
the night it really did. Like they helped me with counseling, with everything that I needed. They got all my records and found out what I was dealing with, and like they said, we want to help you, but you have to take the help.
Mhm.
Right.
So, but I was arrested. The last night I was going to be officially homeless because I'd been in and out of the hospital uh, for PTSD. I ended up punching a cop in the face at a bar.
Damn.
Yeah.
Now this was in Houston.
No, it was in West Texas, San Angelo, Texas.
Okay, yep. And this was he trying to intervene with a fight, or you just decided to just like pick a fight with somebody?
No, not at all. I have never picked a fight with anybody ever in my life. I promise you, especially the way, training and stuff. It's
Right.
always like the defensive, but having the kind of PTSD I had, and especially during that time, they had first started the investigation open. My mom begged me not to talk about it because it would make me physically sick. And
Right.
as soon as I reported it, I ended up in the ER, and she had to take my daughter. And I literally, for 3 or 4 months, was in a psych ward because I was so fucked up from it. Excuse my language. So I lost my place, and I was with these three guys, and they were in a bar, and I just walked in the bar to get them. And this big door guy was like being a dick, and he was like, "Hey, you can't come in here." And I looked at him like, "Dude, I'm just grabbing him." He's like, "Well, I'm gonna call the cops." I was like, whatever. By the time he calls the cops, right, I'm literally walking in, grabbing him, walk out. But what I didn't know, there was a cop standing right next door. And so I had my head down. I was walking, and I feel someone grab my arm, like real rough. And I thought it was the door guy, and I just turned around and punched him.
So the intent wasn't to hit the cop. The intent was to hit the dickhead at the door.
And it was, well, that was the thing, is the intent was someone grabbed me, and
Right.
Correct.
especially with my training, that's my, because you grab me, that's going to be my reaction.
Immediately,
especially
that's
with
what I thought. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and especially with my PTSD, and as like soon as I hit him, he looks at me like shocked, and I looked at him shocked, and it was just awful. I couldn't take it back. It wasn't something I did on
Yeah, it
purpose.
was already too
Must
late.
have hit him pretty
right?
good then.
Well, I was gonna say at that.
Yeah.
Come on, you got to remember, this is a finely trained Olympic athlete up against Joe Cop. My money's on Mandy every single time. I don't care who.
Well,
the
the guy's
cop is.
6'5". I'm pretty sure he probably took that and
Don't
was like,
care.
"Did you just hit me?"
Don't
and she
care.
was, and she
it
was probably
wasn't
like,
like-
"Shit, I just hit you."
I-
And he was like,
Yeah,
"Fuck, I gotta
I mean-
arrest you now." And she's like,
Yeah.
"Damn."
Well, it wasn't. I mean, but everything, as crazy as it sounds, worked out the way it was supposed to. Because, like, I mean, I remember when they put me in the cell in jail, I laid down, and it was like a relief. Like, it was over. I don't have to fight anymore. Like, worry. It was weird.
Well, it sounds like that was your rock bottom, Mandy. Like everybody gets to that point, and I remember mine. It's the same. It's same idea. I was in the bottom of that cell, and you just kind of look up at the top there, and you're like, "Fuck, I'm here." Like you can't get any lower than this,
But
and it's a shitty feeling. And I know you said that you kind of felt like a sense of like relief. It was all done, but let's be honest. It's still a shitty feeling. You're losing your freedom. You're losing everything else. It's a reality check. And then when it does finally hit you, you're like, fuck. You
No,
know?
you're not understanding. Like the 3 months before that, I'm in psych wards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about feeling and separated from my child, my baby, she was a baby, so
Right.
those were the worst. And like, I mean, I ran, escaped from psych wards. I was so fucked up and not trusting of anyone. I was refusing help. I didn't trust anybody. I didn't believe anybody because nobody,
hmm
really wanted to help me before. So when I was in that cell, it was real relief at that point.
Right.
That was
no,
what
I
I
can
was
see
going to
you.
get to, and I wanted to let Mandy finish her point, but so true. I'm sure when that door slammed and she's lying on the cot and she's like, "That's it, okay."
Yeah.
Cleansing. The beginning of the cleansing.
You don't have to overthink anymore. Someone's going to tell you when to
Exactly.
get up. Someone's going to tell you when to sit down.
But going back to the point that Mandy made about prison saved her life, now she's inside. She has access to counseling. She has access to the things that she needs to not heal the wounds, but begin the healing process.
Yeah, because here's the craziest part, and that's the other thing, because I was in solitary for a while, and like they put the word out on me about me being the athlete and all that stuff, and I still had a lot of anger issues, but inside a women's jail, it is safe. Like I started to feel safe again. Like, I'm around women. I'm just dealing with women.
Hmm.
I mean, it was what I needed. Like, and that was the only way because I had been in hospitals before, but I would just run away.
Well, I have to say this on my stepdaughter's behalf. What you just said about women's prison being safe, Madison, don't believe everything you see on Netflix when you watch Wentworth. It's not a killing spree.
Oh no.
Mandy's telling a real story from a real point of view.
No, not at all. I mean, I can only speak from my experience. And I mean, jail is still jail. Like, you don't want to be there. You know what I mean?
Do you consider it? I got to ask you this question because we all have different views on law enforcement and jail. Do you consider it jail or corrections?
Prison's prison and jail is jail.
Okay.
There's a huge difference.
Having come out on the other side, do you feel it's more toward corrections or more toward like wartime jail gimmick schnabbits, etc.?
The Texas Department of Criminal Justice is horrific, but
Ooh.
that's another thing. I was blessed to be put in a private prison that was ran by a private company, and the warden was all about rehabilitation, and it was clean. It was about education.
That's good.
But Texas Department of Criminal Justice, they don't. It's horrifying.
You mean they didn't try to keep you there for the rest of your life?
Shocker.
Yeah, it was horrifying.
Ed's not a fan of law enforcement. You'll have to excuse him over there on the other side.
I know. When you told me you hit the cop, I'm just like, what'd they lock her up for?
I know, right?
Well,
Get to the crime.
No, but here's the flip side, though. Like, in the West Texas cops, I mean, I did a bunch of crazy stuff, and in hindsight, I mean, I remember pretty much doing jujitsu with one officer in the middle of traffic when he was trying to get me to take me to the hospital, and we almost got hit by cars, and he could have shot me. Like, if it would have been Austin, like, out of all the stuff that I put them through. So, I mean, it all depends on, what kind of police officer you're dealing with.
Well, yes,
absolutely.
yes, absolutely. That, and of course, we hear, and I have friends in Texas that will tell you that Texas is strict by the book law enforcement. They have the death penalty. They use it. When they say get down on the ground, you have one choice. Get down on the fucking ground. So we understand how Texas is still sort of old school where the rest of the country is pamper wearing, smoothie drinking, gimmick Jones. You could have been screwed up even more by punching a cop in Texas.
No, I mean, like, if I had to do 2 years of regular Texas prison, it would have made me worse.
You really think so?
Absolutely. The private prison I was sent to is in Lockhart, Texas. But when I talk about private, I'm talking about it was like a high school, like set up like a high school. It's still prison, but we had a lot of privileges. There was hope there. The guards weren't allowed to, like in regular Texas prison. You go through a processing for 6 days, and they cuss you out. Some male guards can beat on the female guard.
Ugh.
I mean, they don't have enough food. They don't have I can't even describe it. They still have that old school where you do a hose squad and you work out with hose chained to each other with a guy on a horse.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I got very, very lucky where I got sent. I had absolutely none of those experiences. I just got a glimpse, and that was enough for me.
The experiences that you went through that led you to this moment in time where you ended up in prison, obviously when you're behind bars, you speak to the psychiatrist, you go through all this stuff. I don't even know how to form this question again. I just keep picturing my girls. The revelation has to be huge. The psychiatrist must have had eyes as big as saucers. You were a world-class athlete. Probably today at 37, you could still go out there and kick the asses of 90% of the people that are doing Taekwondo. I will bet, whether or not it's true. It had to be a revelation. It's like, this happened to you. This put you where you are. Was there sympathy from I know sympathy is a dirty word between shit and syphilis in the dictionary to a lot of people, but did the psychiatrist look to you and go, oh my God, Mandy, how did you survive?
The first one I saw in Houston, like, told me, like, we don't know how you're still alive, and that was back in 2006. And then when I was uh in prison and stuff, they were more shocked. They were more shocked, but they did believe me because at that point, all those people, media and stuff, were contacting. I remember my warden. They just call you in the warden's office, and he's sitting there, and he's like this big, good old boy, but real nice. He's like, "Why does Washington Post want to come interview?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Because at this point, I just thought everything was over. You know what I mean? As
Right.
far as all that kind of stuff. I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, you're this athlete, whatever, and all these people want to come talk to you." And like like for me, it was the word would be surreal, like
No,
because
exactly.
I mean it was like that's the whole where was everybody 11 years ago, or
Yeah.
like it took them.
You never thought it would finally get to a point where people actually wanted to listen.
Well, no, because it was over. It was 11 years, but like my whole point, the main thing I want people to understand is it wasn't like the one incident or there was like something in my background that caused this stuff to happen to me, or the people have to understand that it was the way things were in sports, especially
Right.
Olympic sports. It was a cultural thing, it was a sport thing, it literally was an everyday thing. That's why uh like I would go and I would train, I trained my ass off, but it was going on all around me with everybody. You
Right.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially like when I first came in, all the
It's
girls
actually
right
it's
before.
actually kind of scary because
Yeah.
as you're putting it into perspective for me, I'm literally seeing this. Like I can physically see this, and yeah, it is
Yeah.
damn scary.
And so the breakdown happened. Like I had never had any legal issues, major mental problems until 2007. That's because when I reported it, nothing was done. Nothing was done with the other girls or Eric who killed himself. Uh, they threatened everybody who I grew up with. If you help her, you're going to lose everything. So people turn
Right.
their back on me. I mean, it was this progression, right? So I just want people to like kind of understand that there's a bunch of variables, but these things can be like changed. And like I'm not sitting here, oh, I'm a victim or I'm want to
No,
keep
no, you
ruining.
you you seem
Like
like
I
you're an
don't.
advocate for change about this. To be honest with
But
you.
it's a simple advocacy to me. It's just like do the right fucking thing.
Yeah, but see,
Do the
when you
right
say
thing.
simple, the problem is a lot of people use it as a shield to defend
Well, you know
themselves,
why
and you're actually
you
using
know
this as a
why it's
weapon.
not simple. You know why it's not simple from my perspective and my experience is because of especially when it comes to money and business.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these men now, especially with everything happening, instead of being excited about the new rules and changes and stuff for safety, they're freaking out and attacking us
Right.
and attacking all these little girls coming out because they're afraid of losing, number one, their business. But these men love to go to tournaments, leave their wives at home, party, hang out with the
Exactly.
boys.
Yes.
It's the rock star mentality.
Yes.
Oh God, yeah.
Party like a rock
Yeah.
star. Absolutely,
Yeah.
man.
So
Fuck that. I partied with rock stars. I know
Well,
how
you
they
can
party.
use it.
It's
You
a
can
given.
use it as a valuable
I got
excuse.
you. Right.
I'm going out to a tournament. What could go wrong? We are at a hotel
No
with all these
different.
kids.
No different
yeah.
than Johnny
It's
Businessman.
another zip code.
Right.
Yeah.
No different than Johnny Businessman who kisses his wife and his 3 kids with the picket fence and the dog named Boo and goes halfway across the country to Las Vegas. I don't know why I'm picking Vegas out of my head, but and
Because Raiders are going there.
the Raiders are all going to die. We all know this. That's a different subject for a different time. But it's that I don't know. I don't have it. I don't think Mike or Eddie has it. But it's that stigma that what my wife don't know won't hurt her,
yeah.
and that's just sick.
And for the parents, I'm gonna get real. I'm a parent. Number one, don't push your kids into something because it's your dream. First of all, and then second of
Hoorah.
all, don't do the hero worshiping of a coach. Like it should be a huge red flag. First of all, you should background check him. First of all,
Good
like
call.
without a
Very
doubt,
good call.
never leave your kid alone. And if this guy or girl, whoever, I don't care, females do it too. Hey, let me take your kid. No, you can't be here.
Oh, good point, Mandy. Don't. I hate to stop you, but all of us in the last probably 15 years, and I'm speaking for the males, not the females, but for the males, not the 82 genders that we all have to acknowledge now.
Yeah.
But each story that comes out with hot teacher diddles 15-year-old
Oh,
student,
that's
and
disgusting. Yeah.
yes, it is. But each one of us, as a red-blooded American male, as a goof, and I say this because my girlfriend and I sit in bed and watch these Snapped on Oxygen. Thank God you
Yeah.
were never an episode of Snapped. I thank you for that. I'm thankful you're out on the other side, and you're killing it right now, kid. You're killing it. But every one of us has looked, and I've said it in front of my girlfriend with the Pamela Smart thing. I'm like, where were teachers like that when I was 15?
You know what, Chris? How about this?
Go ahead.
Let's just say this. It's funny until it happens to your kid.
Exactly.
Yeah. Then you pissed off and you want to murder somebody.
You know, and
Yeah.
it's fun. No, it's funny she says that, because as soon as I say it, the guilt runs down my spine. And as cool as it would be for the moment, me, Chris at 15, dorky, heavy metal, long-haired rocker guy, far different from the
See,
fit guy
I'll
you
give
see now.
I'll give you.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah,
though?
no,
Thank you.
I'll give you a quick little no. Now, obviously, I've had the luxury of my children not having to go anywhere next to what your father has had to go through with you.
Yeah.
But just to give you a little mentality of where I am with my children, my son was, I want to say, 13 years old when he had his first concussion, and it was from football, and I love football. Anybody in this table, that's my jam, and I'm a coach for football.
That was the first 15 minutes of the show.
That's my thing, you know. That's my thing. He came to me and he was like, "Dad, I'm not feeling good," and I'm sitting here and I'm watching my son vomit in like in a dark room, you know, and it's my heart is breaking for him. My heart is literally, the thing that I love the most is taking my son to the point where I can't stand seeing him be like this, you know. He told me, like, I want to say it was 3 months later, "Dad, I can't do this no more. I'm sorry. I can't do football no more."
You got to go.
And there was a part of me that was a little disappointed. I'm not going to lie.
Of course, yeah.
But there was a part of me that I saw my son. I went through him. I watched him throwing up while he was going through this whole thing, and it broke my heart. It broke my fucking heart.
Yeah.
But as you're done saying that, on the outside looking in, I've never played football as a baseball player. I make the Chris Benoit jokes. I make the Aaron Hernandez jokes. And after the fact, obviously, anybody who kills his wife and kid can go fuck himself. But Aaron Hernandez, I have a bit of sympathy for him, because nobody knew the trauma that was going on inside, and it's a different kind of trauma.
Right.
But in Mandy's case, there's a trauma that, you know, no matter how healthy you get, Mandy, no matter how well you get, no matter how wonderful your life is, this is that little black mark on your heart that will never wash away no matter what you do. My heart goes out to you.
Well, I want to clear it up too, like, and it's so good we can talk about this, because people need to understand, okay? It's not about it being on my heart. It literally is like a physiological, physical thing. It's the physical symptoms that I still have problems with. As far as the emotional, but here's the thing, because, okay, you have to imagine, and this started when I was super young. If you were to, let's say, someone were to come in your house and with a gun and tie up your family and hold you down and, like, to, you know, and I had this stuff, it wasn't one instance, it was these constant things happening to me physically, that my body, like, even a couple weeks ago it happened, and this physical stuff comes over, and I have to, like, now I know what to do and what to expect. But I mean, that's the part that in a lot, who I can relate to also was the veterans. I'm actually taking some medication they give to veterans.
Right.
Amen.
Yeah, that's the only stuff that works for me at night, or I can't, like, I have flashbacks. So I want people to understand, because a lot of people don't understand mental health, so they're like, "Oh, get over it." Like, even my own family, to a certain degree, they didn't understand that, like, my drinking issues weren't the mental stuff, it was the physical shit. Like, when nighttime came, I mean, I drank so I could just feel normal and, like,
and go to sleep.
My body,
go to sleep.
My body would react. So people need to understand that aspect. For trauma, man or woman, it's not just the emotional stuff.
Right.
That's why a lot of the soldiers commit suicide, and even my friend too. Part of it is because, I mean, it physically hurts.
And when I said your
now,
heart,
obviously,
I'm sorry. When I said your heart, I don't want you to think that that's all I was saying. But when everybody says your heart, the heart and the soul are connected, and all this, the physical, you know, wounds go away, scars eventually, you know, scar over. though, but it's what's inside that you carry for so long. That's where I was going to.
You know the hardest stuff what hurts me. This is my story, right? Personally,
Yes.
what hurts me is that time away from my daughter. What hurts me is that I'm still not with her because I want to make sure that I'm going to be healthy enough so when I'm around her, I don't fall apart. That's
God
the shit
bless
that hurts
this
me.
woman.
Fuck yeah.
Seriously.
The stuff with Gene or Steven, the reason, like, even before all this shit, I mean, he had to hold me down because that's the only thing he could do, but they were terrified of me because I was never scared of them. But when it comes down to what men and women need to understand, if a man, I don't care how much skills I have, if a guy who's bigger than me gets a hold of me and holds me down, there's nothing I can do.
No,
So,
right.
yeah,
right.
as far as being upset and all that shit, or like, oh my God, look what he did to me. No, what saved my life and helped me help my friends is I got fucking angry. I was angry. You know what I mean? When you get
Right.
depressed and start like turning
when you get pissed off, you
Yeah.
do some incredible shit.
Hi, have we met me in the last 40-some years until recently?
No, you're absolutely
Well, and
right.
that's the thing
I
is
I really want people to like listen to this though
No,
because
seriously,
you
this is
you have some very good points that I don't think a lot of people realize that victims like
Well,
yes.
here's another thing, especially having a daughter of my own, and that a part of me, I remember when I was pregnant, I thought I wanted a boy because I was scared. But when I have my girl, I love my daughter, and what worked for me is at 7 years old, my dad, you knock them out, you beat their ass, right?
Mhm.
So I had that. I was allowed to be mean. I was allowed to be angry. But a lot of women and young girls aren't given permission to be upset or angry and justified anger, and that's super important. Like, that's what saved my ass.
You know, Mandy, 2 years ago, my stepdaughter was being harassed on the bus physically.
Yeah.
And she came home and she told me about it. I was the first face she saw. And I looked at her. I said, Madison, I know your mom's not going to agree with this, but the next time that boy messes with you, kick his ass. And
Yeah.
I'm sitting at home one day. Angela comes home a little early. We get a little phone call, and she's like, Madison just got kicked off the bus for X amount of days. For what? She beat the shit out of this kid with a water bottle like 33 times in the head. I don't know about that. Madison comes home and she tells the story, and she's getting the mouthful from the missus, and I wait till she's in the shower, the missus, and I go to Madison's room. I say, tell me what happened. She tells me the story. She goes, I said, what did you do? Did exactly what you told me to do. I wasn't going to take it anymore, and I whipped the shit out of this kid with the water bottle. I'm like, good for you. Take your punishment like a woman. Just eat it. Just eat
Human beings are pack animals. They'll side with the strongest one. So
if you
just
show
lash
weakness,
out,
they'll continue
if you
to
just
pick.
lash out, they'll have your back.
You want to know pack animals? Get yourself a dog. They'll show you exactly what a pack animal
But
is.
look, all of our fathers going around this table, as we born male. Somebody fucks with you, boy, you fuck with them back, and you make sure you throw the last punch. Don't throw the first one, throw the last one. It's different with the girls growing up, but now we're in a different time. You have to tell them, stand up for yourself, because the girls that were raised in our generation, we are all at this table over 40, and we were told, don't throw the first punch, throw the last, and you have to treat women with the red carpet and the flowers and
It's
the
not
gimmick.
over 40 yet.
Yeah, I am.
Yes, you are.
You did.
41.
See,
That's right.
You might want to get a calendar. This is important.
I just haven't lost my baby face.
If Mandy comes and kicks you in the face, I will not cry.
Not my
that's
face.
Funny.
Not
Okay.
my
Well,
face.
I'm not like a man hater or like, oh, I'm against men or anything like that. It's just, like I said, growing up, and it's just the culture and the environment. And with that being said, most people need to know that athletes, and I've seen, Michael Phelps at a party, Evander Holyfield acting crazy. Like, these guys do not have normal boundaries, upbringings. They're not educated. They get to do whatever they want, whenever they want. We're not dealing with healthy, normal people.
Oh, of course not.
What did Rocky say in the first
Absolutely
movie?
right there.
You got to be a total moron to want to be a fighter. That's what he said.
Yeah.
We've had athletes on the show talk about the parties they went to where the rules just don't apply to them.
The life rules don't apply.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, right here, Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
There you go.
Actually, I wanted to bring up something, and this kind of what you said kind of leads into this, because we were talking about the teachers, like the women teachers that are like sleeping with these kids and stuff, which to me kind of adds to that whole "it's not about sex, it's about power" thing.
It is about power.
And it doesn't really matter.
Sure. Right.
And very recently we had that thing with Asia Argento where she was a big Me Too person. It turns out she was sleeping with an underage kid. So do you think that and she got harassed by Harvey Weinstein, which I think we all agree at this table he's a scumbag.
He's a scumbag. Yes,
he's fucking scumbag.
His word is shit.
Yeah, he's a scumbag.
So say you one, so say you all.
So now,
I mean, I believe that could have happened or probably happened, but that doesn't take away that what she did is horrific and it's a crime in itself, and she's getting, the repercussions of it. So.
Well, my real question is, do you think it's that whole it's the allure of the power and being able to dominate someone like that? Do you think that's kind of like a disease that like spreads or something?
I mean, what are we talking about? Are we talking about rape? Are we
sexual harassment, rape, the whole culture?
The whole, yeah, exactly.
I think what Ed's trying to get at is just the power in general, just to be able to have the power over another human being.
Whether it's Harvey Weinstein, Gene Lopez, Kevin Spacey, whomever.
My personal experiences with those two people was learning what I've learned. One is definitely a pedophile, and the other is a rapist. And I mean, I witnessed their father doing the same thing, which isn't an excuse. So
it's a learned experience at that point.
It's almost contagious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Certain people just shouldn't have power.
Right. I mean,
and not only that, it got to a point after I left because I told them it would get worse. That they didn't do this when I was there. It happened to Heidi once, but that they were drugging and raping girls unconscious, and I mean that's like sadistic. They're enjoying it. I mean, before they did this. This is the other thing that drives me nuts when men pull this. It's consensual. It was consensual or rough or we were dating, and you can say that so much, but when you're drugging a woman and having sex with her when she's passed out.
Oh, without question.
It's the same with alcoholism. If they're too far beyond, and I think we've all been to a point, even drinking. Everyone at this table,
guilty. And
thank you.
I'm still,
where
still
you
doing
literally
it.
don't remember the next day. That's the same thing. If you take advantage of somebody and they're in that state, it's the same idea. It's the exact same idea.
To me, I'm going back to not only this article, but articles I've read earlier, where the one of the Lopez brothers drugged the girl, drugged her, and then dragged.
Yeah, that was my friend Heidi. I was there.
Okay, and dragged her into the elevator, took her up to her room, had his way, gimmick schnibbits fernum, and then the next day, somebody asked him, nothing happened. Everything was wonderful and consensual Jones.
Gene's thing every time something happened, even with me, was I was drunk. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Stop. I can't take it anymore. Mandy, I'm not yelling at you. But if there's something I say on this show often when somebody who was inebriated beyond belief says, I said, take that to court with you. Your Honor, I was drunk. No judge, including Judge Judy, is going to look at you and go, oh, yeah, sir, you're clean. Go ahead. Go home. Fuck that.
Well, that's where we're at today because, when you guys asked me about what I think and thought, and through all my experience, especially dealing with different agencies and stuff, is the most important thing to do is, number one, with your children, educate them as much as you can, right? So that they will tell you right away, right? And then you have to report it to the police. These are, for me, everything now, when I hear something, it's a crime. It's either crime or it's not a crime. That's where my mind's at. Because
that's my problem with colleges where they try to investigate everything internally. Fuck no.
Brock Turner.
Fuck
done.
No. It's a crime.
They do that for a reason because they don't want it to get out.
Of course not.
Obviously.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If it's a crime, I'm not a big law guy. I'm a libertarian.
No, not you.
But I've always believed there should be a statute that says if somebody reports a crime, you need to call an investigator, a.k.a. the police.
Yeah.
End of story.
Law enforcement.
End of story.
There's a reason why it's called law enforcement.
Or detectives, because they look into it further than just Johnny Redbeat with his stick and
think about what happened to me. I went to these guys and reported it, and the CEO, Dave Eskenes, at the time was an attorney, and he told me to my face, it's too late to report it. The statutes are up. I will but not only that, I'll take care of them.
Right.
When in reality, it wasn't too late, and it would have been a different story today.
But wasn't Askiness in bed
well,
with
he
them?
was. I was going to say he was kind of.
He told me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he was relying on your.
Not going to hit the button while she's on the phone.
Right.
But horse shit. I'm not going to do it.
he was banking on the fact that you didn't know.
No, because I did it because I asked. No, I didn't even ask him. I said I want to report it to the police, and he told me I'm an attorney. It's too late.
Well, that's
I'll
him
never
saying that's a
forget it.
crime in itself,
Right.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Which, because we can't talk too much about the lawsuit,
No,
let me ask you, when it's all said and done, the dust clears, the gavel hits, the lawsuit is done. If Mandy Meloon has a dream about how this all ends, what is the end game for you and for the other young ladies who went through this and young ladies going forward?
Well, number one, like, I just want Gene and Steven to never ever be able to coach or train athletes or underage girls ever again. And the next step would be we have a real problem. Like, anybody off the street, a pedophile could go right now and open up a school and an after school program and call it Taekwondo and teach your kids. And that's where it's been starting. Even
No,
with
you're
Gene.
right.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's the biggest thing.
No, she's out. She's not even playing around there.
1,000%
Not
right.
not too long ago. I mean, it was 2001, right? Remember when I opened up my own little freaking. I
we
didn't
did
have
the
shit.
same.
I didn't have shit. All I was doing was just pretty much teaching the local kids from the area just some
Yeah.
basic shit.
Hey,
But no,
it's
she's
funny,
absolutely
too.
right. I had good intentions.
All you
I
have
had
to do
good
is
intentions.
apply for
Somebody
a
else
business
doesn't.
license.
That's like the
exactly.
furthest thing from your mind.
Yeah.
For
You know?
him, yes, but for some
But
of
for
these
somebody
guys,
else, no, she's absolutely right. It's pretty much it's a goddamn ice cream truck. You're like,
Yep.
here's martial arts. Come learn it for free with a free gi, and all of a sudden you have all these kids in here
It
and
was
this pedophile.
different,
No,
too,
she's
'cause
that Mandy.
we-
Bing, bing, bing. I am gonna fucking quote you on that. I'm gonna Facebook you and tweet that freaking. That is crucial right there. You have just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, that's the most important thing to me, other than parents, like making sure. And as it doesn't even sound funny, but as sensitive as it is, really educating your kids from a very early age what's appropriate and not.
No.
That's so important.
Mm-hmm. Ed, did you have a point you wanted to make? Because I have a question to end this all off.
Yeah, I
when
just
you're done.
I just have one question. Like you said, when all the dust is settled, not as a competitor, but would you want anything to do with the sport anymore? Maybe even work for the commission, making sure this.
Wouldn't
kind
it
of
be
thing
great to
doesn't
have
happen.
Mandy Meloon be a coach and all her girls or guys go out and kick a bunch of ass at the Olympics?
Well, not even a coach, as like I don't know what you call, like, for lack of a better term, a safety committee member or something.
Ooh, yes. What was it? What was the safety committee they referred you to? Safe
Sport, yeah.
There you go.
As of right now, like, I go day to day, right? Just wanting to make sure I'm healthy and I want to be with my daughter, but down the road, maybe one day. But the only thing that I heard of that might interest me is they just started a program for athletes with disabilities, and to me that's super inspirational. Because for me, I don't find I never really looked up to anybody in my sport or found them to be inspiring. But when I see these athletes with real struggles and disabilities doing it and like believing in it, then that makes me believe it again. So.
Okay.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
If there was one message that you could send to every young athlete, male, female, or 72 genders that we all have to deal with nowadays, what would it be?
Go to college. Go to school. For sure.
You don't want
completely.
Go ahead.
Don't completely rely on like athletics. You have to have a balance and something outside, which is definitely education. That's one thing that I felt like I missed out on.
And we have no more tradesmen in this fucking world. Right. Be a tradesman, people.
Well, any kind of trade.
Mike, you're right.
My brother's a lineman. He was military. He's a lineman. My stepdad's a welder.
I'm a welder. So. That's what I'm saying. There's no more tradesmen. There's nobody out there no more. Nobody wants to take over these positions.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yes,
like,
I do. No, absolutely.
Not everybody's gonna be a professional athlete. Like enjoy it, love it, and then.
We would love to be. We would love to be. But. I mean, you got to live the dream, Mandy, but in all actuality, it was a nightmare for you. You know, so I mean, all these dreams of like I always wanted to be an actor growing up. That was my big thing. Well, I'm a welder now, you know. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. You got to actually
but instead of like idolizing people and trying to get their signatures, be happy looking at
exactly.
Your signature on things that are important to you, whatever it may be. You know?
Exactly.
We're
That's what I'm saying. You got a chance to actually live what most of us would consider a dream, and it turned out to be right. Exactly.
It was gross. I was in 2 Olympics. I went to 2 Olympics to watch because I was with the team and dating the guy, and I saw everything, and it was. Some of it was nice, but most of it, I was like thinking if people only knew.
Right,
what was really
right.
going on.
What was the story of the Olympics a couple years ago where the Olympic Village ran out of condoms? I'm like, are you serious? You're there to compete in the highest level that you can actually compete in, and they ran out of condoms. Everybody's fucking everybody else.
No, you know,
whether on the level or under the level.
Spread the seed, man.
Mandy, I don't often say this to someone who comes on this show. I love you, kid. Man, I'm glad you got to tell your story.
No, absolutely.
As the father of 2 daughters, thank you so much. The door is always open. If you ever want to come back and just vent if you're pissed off about something, give me 2 days heads up. We'll make time for you.
You had some great points. I absolutely loved the statements that you made today, and I really hope if at least 3 parents listen to this interview, they pull something away from it, and it's everything that you pulled from it. And that is love your children, keep your children up to date, and talk to them. That is the biggest thing.
Yeah, if you're ever up this way, we'll take you to Captain Scott's for some lobster rolls and chowder.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God, I love seafood. Yeah.
You ever get to Connecticut, we will all meet.
We got the
best. New England. Come on, we got the best.
Awesome.
And if you don't share this episode when we drop it tomorrow, and I'll share the link with you, I might learn Taekwondo and lure you into the ring.
For sure.
All right, so I don't have to worry about fighting Mandy Malone.
No, I'm retired. I'm a mom now.
Thank God for that.
Mandy,
I was afraid she'd accept the challenge.
Mandy, you got to come out of retirement for this one. You got to come out of retirement for this one. We already got Bob Backlund, put him in a chicken wing. One spinning back kick ain't gonna kill you.
It might. You never know. I'm 46 years old. I might die immediately. Ladies and gentlemen, her name is Mandy Meloon. Mandy, we can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Mandy, so much for your time.
Me.
No problem. Stay in touch.
I will. Good night.
All right, thanks.
Good night.
Bye.
Man, how do we go into the comedy portion of this show after hearing all that?
She kept it light. She kept it real light.
Let
me tell you what.
Man.
For a person who was stuck in the dark for as long as she was, that is a very light person right there. That is a very hopeful person, and not only that, that is a person who has some form of hope for humanity.
Oh, absolutely.
Really, at this point, for as
she could hate everybody at this point.
Exactly. For as shitty as life has treated her, she could have a chip on her shoulder the size of fucking Mount Rushmore. But just listen to her, just listening to the fact that the only thing she gives a fuck about right now is her child, and that's a fucking awesome.
The biggest thing for me was she came out on the other side. You can hate the corrections system, you can hate the police, you can hate everything, and we kind of goofed on you during the interview, but
it's fine.
Let's be honest. The fact that when she went in, she was a wreck. When she comes out, she's like, I get it now. Now it's time to move forward. It was just February of this past year that she got out.
I think we talked about this earlier too. You have to want that change. Mm-hmm. You have to be so desperate in your life that you realize that shit has hit the
my name is
fan.
Chris, and I quit drinking a couple months ago as heavily as I did. You're welcome. But
like a month and a half ago.
July,
September,
September,
like
2 months ago.
Mount fucking Rushmore.
No, I don't. I would never. But when he
man.
says that, you have to want it. You do. You have to want it.
You have to. It's just straight up fucking feeling. Man.
Just because
I think everybody at this table has been there.
Sure.
We really have. Like, if you want something so bad that nothing else matters, there's nothing outside. There's just this one vision that you have. It's tunnel vision.
The Nation of Domination said it. What did they say?
You generally get tunnel vision.
Any means
right, but you generally get tunnel vision. You can see it. It's crazy. It's almost like when you've had that mixed amount of perfect drinks and you're playing pool and you can literally start seeing the lines. Look, none of us are great pool players here, right? But I think we've all been in that point where we've been so drunk.
We ran the table and didn't know it?
Exactly, because you see the lines. You know what I'm saying? and that's exactly what it is here. You actually see the tunnel. It is tunnel vision. You see what you want, you go for it, and you grab it. And this is exactly what it's
Especially when you look at the alternative. What's the alternative? She loses her daughter or loses her life.
She loses her life.
Her friend wasn't so lucky.
At this fucking point, you got to talk about. I mean, I didn't know she lost her friend to that, and I didn't even break into it because I didn't have the heart to ask her what the fuck did they do to him.
That,
you know what I'm saying?
I know. That's what
to
I'm
make
saying.
him commit suicide. What the fuck?
When she said him, I was like, oh my god, what were they doing?
So they
everybody?
must have been bullying the shit out of him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's amazing what the human psyche can go through.
We didn't get to it too much, but imagine you have the people who don't believe you, then you have the people look at you like you are the Taekwondo queen.
Yeah,
shut the fuck
up
and deal
exactly,
with it.
That's what other people would say.
Know? And it's like
I just signed on to the live feed, and there was a comment here some time ago from a gentleman named Jason Chappell, and we will ask Mandy when she comes back on, what kind of things would we do in order to be better? Should we be putting things which would enhance us? I thank you for your time. The second half of the question, I'm not quite sure of.
Wait a minute. Hold. Ask that again.
Jason Chappell says, what kind of things would we do in order to be better? Should we be putting...
I think she answered that question.
I'm pretty sure she did.
Number one, she said, make sure if you have children, if you're a parent, keep your fucking kids informed.
Yes.
That's big. Number two, I think she showed more than anything. No matter what people do to you, like this was a piece of shit. And what he did to her was
the Lopez
fucked up.
guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they did to her was fucked up. But look what
sick.
she is now. Look what she is now. She's an advocate, and she's becoming a faucet for people to speak out through. Now, look, that's I don't know if this is the answer you're looking for, dude. But things change people. They make you better or they make you worse. In this aspect, I dare to go out on a limb and say, I think it's obviously made her better because she went to jail. She did the whole 9 yards, and she's becoming a spokesperson against this. And not only that, I mean, her story just came out within like the last
week. This was
I was going to say like month. I was going to say month.
I think a month.
Well, it had been out there via Crime and Sports, but the real story. This was last
according
Monday.
to Sports Illustrated.
Let me say, and this is the point I was trying to make before. Nobody was watching. It's a sport that wasn't watched.
Yes.
ESPN2 might put it on.
This came out last
but
Monday.
Not everybody had that. I'm just talking like the whole big picture.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're watching
in general. Taekwondo in general.
If you're watching us on the YouTube channel, this magazine I hold in my hand came out last Monday, which was September 10. Think about that.
We didn't even know ESPN covered Taekwondo unless you watch Best of the Best.
Right. And Sports Illustrated.
And let's be honest, dude.
Sports Illustrated, you were facing the crowd.
Back then, ESPN wasn't on every cable package.
No, it was not.
You actually had to pay
Especially
for it.
not ESPN2 or ESPN3. You weren't getting that.
And what was the other one? NESN? They never covered it.
That wasn't happening.
So
that's because nothing happens outside the Red Sox.
Nobody was watching.
So I didn't say that.
I did, actually.
Stop
that was a goof. And Lee Cody, if you're watching, nothing happens unless it's the Red Sox. You jerk off.
Shut the fuck up.
All right, let's go.
Season's almost over.
Right into buy and sell.
Don't jinx this shit now. Okay, motherfucker?
You can easily be the aliens champions. Easily.
Yeah, just don't take away the fucking wild card. All right? That's what you're doing right now by doing that stupid shit.
I got the wild card. Run that by
Here we go.
Gimmick.
So, I will be starting... Oh.
I already ran the gimmick while you're ranting about.
Is this the first day you've done this?
No, I gotta get my.
I gotta get
my money.
my
money symbol.
All right.
See, if he would have showed up, he could have taken pictures.
I see the gimmick now, so we're on a 12-second delay from YouTube. Yeah, you're good. You're ranting, and nobody heard the good shit.
Looks like Henry Cavill is stepped down as Superman. Is this the end of the DCCU? Buy or sell?
Sell it. His agent says he has not stepped down.
Cut it out, dude. Stop. You know he's already gone.
No, his agent said he has not stepped down.
All right, whatever.
I don't believe it.
Is it the end of DCCU?
No, they got movies in the pipeline. They're probably going to be terrible.
Exactly.
Like the Supergirl
Is this the
thing.
end of the DCCU?
No, I think Wonder Woman will carry it for a little while. Sell it. Cavill's still Superman.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Batfleck
What do you got,
gone.
Chris?
I'm buying
he
it.
is gone.
Cavill's gone. Batfleck's gone. Nobody gives a shit about Jason Momoa and his Carhartt commercial. nor does anybody give a fuck about Aquaman. You have two characters that are carrying this right now. Wonder Woman and the Joker, who is now changed again because Joaquin Phoenix is doing the Joker. The DC Cinematic Universe is over. Thank you, fuck you, bye.
Do you want to know how I know it's completely gone?
You have inside information?
Do you know what the Joker's new name is?
What?
Alfred Fleck.
Excuse me for a second.
A. Fleck.
A. Fleck.
Affleck.
As soon as you said it.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody knows what his real name is.
Yeah, but they just
either
gave
Joe
him
Chill
one. They just gave him one.
Joe Chill was a separate guy that shot Bruce
going
Wayne's
way
father.
back into the DC comic
No, but
book
they
universe.
have
There were
officially
three
given
different.
him a name. It's Alfred Fleck.
Fleck.
Yeah, exactly. So I ask you once again, do you want to take that back?
No, sell it.
It's-
Cavill still Superman.
Joe Chill, Jack Napier, and I can't remember the third
All
one.
they need to do
Oh Christ!
is
here it
get rid
comes.
of Zack Snyder.
Thank you.
Get rid of
Yeah,
Zack
I
Snyder.
agree with that.
Get rid of Christopher Nolan. Stop with the dark, brooding DC universe. And it'll
Wait
be
a minute.
fine.
Why? Dark and Brooding is awesome.
No,
I love
it's
those
not.
films.
No, that's why DC is failing.
No, because they're losing the best Superman they ever had since Christopher Reeve. They lost, well, a shitty Batman, so that doesn't matter.
He's
But
still in Suicide
already-
Squad too.
You're so dark.
They
Are you
already
sure
gave
you're not
away.
a DC character?
They already gave away the best Batman since Michael Keaton that they ever had, despite his gravelly gimmick, I have cancer in my throat voice that he did in the second two movies.
He said he'd only do it if Christopher Nolan was the director. So if Christopher Nolan decided to direct a DCEU, he'd come back.
That's pretty rough. All right, here we go.
Bale is still the best.
Number 2, Stormy Daniels claims that Trump has a small penis that is shaped like Toad from Super Mario Brothers.
Okay.
Buy or sell?
I'm going to buy it because she had sex with him. What other, there are chicks that'll tell stories. You could have a 9-inch wang that comes out their butthole when you screw them, and they're going to tell you, he had a 1-inch dick. Stormy Daniels takes dick for a living. So if she says it, I buy it. That's it. Ed, your turn.
I'm selling it because of this. Okay.
Oh, Christ, here he goes.
And I have no problem with sex workers. I have no problem with porn stars, hookers.
Neither do
you know
I.
that.
Yeah.
What I have a fucking problem with is one of them going on TV or whatever, fucking going, hey, Chris has got a mushroom dick, when she fucked a married man for money. Fuck you. You're the whore. Go fuck yourself.
Say it. Just say it once so I can be vindicated.
Fuck you. You're the whore.
No. It starts with a T. Thank you.
Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.
There you go. My man. We'll get him a shirt before you know it.
That was perfect.
That was
right
good.
then.
The way you did it, too,
That
was
right
awesome.
then. All right.
Next.
Ed, Oprah has a new frozen pizza exactly
Sell it.
1 year after her frozen soup has come out. Oh, so good is coming out. It has a third of its crust is made with cauliflower. Do you buy or sell this?
A third of it. So it's like what? Low carb keto. Pizza?
So it's like, yeah, but it's not fully keto because
It's only partially.
it's only
Yeah,
a third
'cause they haven't
cauliflower,
They
right?
haven't figured out how to get cauliflower to bond together yet.
You see, he took my shit right there.
So
And he's leading.
I buy it. Oprah puts her name on some weird fucking shit, man. Like I read some of the books she recommended. I'm like, what?
They can't get cauliflower to stick together.
Dude, have you had the sour cream and onion mashed potato cauliflower? It's pretty good.
No, but I will say this. I have actually made meatloaf out of cauliflower, and I've made meatloaf out of breadcrumbs for obvious reasons, because meatloaf out of breadcrumbs.
Because breadcrumbs adhere.
Exactly.
It's adhesive.
Don't even start the timer. Don't even start the.
I am.
No.
Doing it.
Sell. Done.
Same reason.
For different reasons, but I need more than 30 seconds. Sell. Fuck you. Done.
Do it. Come on. You got 20.
Dude, it's cauliflower. Nobody wants cauliflower on their pizza. People can argue pineapple on their pizza all they want. I dig pineapple on the pizza. It's amazing. I dig jalapenos on a pizza. It's amazing. Let's get creative with the pizza. Cauliflower? No. Eat shit and die. Oprah.
Well, it's
I
not
like that.
cauliflower on the pizza.
Stop!
it's-
Don't make excuses. This is why we can't work together.
It's the crust.
Motherfucker, please.
It's in the
Motherfucker,
crust.
please.
All right,
It's
Ed.
It's in the. What are you, Pizza Hut
sorry.
now? It's in the
I
Pizza
started
Hut.
with you, Chris.
What?
2 weeks, 2 ties. This new OT in the fucking NFL. Buy or sell.
We were just talking about this the other day. I kind of dig the rule, but except for the fact that the first team that gets possession, if they get a field goal, the other team has a chance. It should be equal. If you go march down the field and you don't score, the other team marches down the field, they don't score, whatever. There's a disparity in the rule that I can't put my finger on, and I need more than 30 seconds for this. However, what I will say is these ties were bullshit. End of rant. And fuck Cleveland. You had a chance to beat New Orleans, you snidely bitches.
Okay, so I heard something about this.
All right, so hold on. I'll give you a pause real
Real-
quick. So here's the deal. Last year, the overtimes would have 2 overtimes. So if you tied after the first overtime, you'd go into a second overtime, which 9 times out of 10 worked out pretty good for you because at this point, most people are playing football for over 2 hours. So they're pretty fucking tired. Mistakes happen. Overtime usually ends in somebody winning. They got rid of that. There's only one overtime that lasts for 10 minutes and has a 2-minute timeout.
On top of that, if you, as a Patriots fan, end up tied with the Vikings in the regular season and you win the toss and you have possession, you march down that field, unless you score a touchdown,
Or
the game is not
if
over.
if I do a safety on them,
Yes.
don't forget about that.
So-
That's the new thing they added.
The game can end on a touchdown or a safety. Field goal doesn't
Sell it.
count.
This is stupid.
Yep, thank you.
No, it's stupid. Tie, sudden death, end.
Bingo.
See, yeah, I agree.
How hockey
First team
figured
to
this
score.
out. Hockey figured
Thank
this out
you.
years ago.
Thank you. Big
Yeah.
high five. Hockey season starts soon. I'm going to be Bruins gold right here on the show.
Did the Falcon Super Bowl tie, right? And then went into,
At the end. And it was
how,
the touchdown.
Why is that so hard?
Exactly. See? And I'm not even upset.
You play until you win.
I was upset that day.
So are they ending games with a tie?
Yeah,
Yes.
Twice this season. The first time ever.
2 times in 2 weeks, games have ended in a
Then
tie.
how do you move in position? Like,
You don't.
You
That's
don't.
just it.
so what do
So
you have a
when
longer season now?
Wait
no,
till
you're
top
not
10.
going to have a longer season.
Wait till top 10.
You're
All
going to
right,
get
all right,
fucked
all
over.
right.
No, you're going to get
Moving on.
fucked over. That's my point. All right, number 5, Chris.
Fuck this. I quit.
Uber passenger moves drunk Uber driver to passenger seat and drives himself to the airport by herself.
Oh, funny. I'm not sure of the question, but I'm going to say buy it. You want to get safely where you got to go? Drive yourself. I think the Uber driver should have paid the person that got in the driver's seat to do it. It's not that hard. If you're an Uber driver, don't fucking drink. It's that simple. You don't have to be the fucking head cashier at Walmart to figure this shit out. Stop the clock. Go to Ed.
Before we go to Ed, let me say this. Connecticut has a very beautiful thing with DUI. So does New York, and so does Rhode Island. Massachusetts and Maine and New Hampshire, not so much. But they got this thing in your car. It's called an IID, which is pretty much a drink driving blow system. So
If you get caught.
right. So my point is to this: if you are
Ooh, nice. Yes.
a legal driver, if you are to drive somebody safely home who has been drinking for the evening, should you be required to have one of these in your car?
As an Uber, yes. Ed's turn.
Okay, I'm selling. Because I just looked it up and
I
there
know.
is no way to contact Uber customer service and say, hey, your fucking driver is drunk. So that's bad on Uber. They need to rectify that.
Thank you.
Selling. Fuck that.
Thank you. This is exactly what I was trying to get to. This is exactly the point that I was trying to make. Uber does not have a, just like Ed said, customer service. You can't just call these people up and be like, hey, this guy is supposed to be driving me home, but he's clearly passed out.
They need to have
in
a
the
number and
They
call
do.
Uber and
That's
say
that's
your
a
driver
problem.
is passed out drunk in the car.
And like I said,
send me another
and
driver.
do we
That's a-
need
that's a
to
contact
go
the
even
police.
further? Do we need to go even further? If you are in charge of making sure that you need to make sure people are driving home safe, Do you need to have one of these devices installed in your car now?
No, that I do not agree with.
Why not?
Why not?
So you're saying it's
licensed
cool
to bring
enough-
somebody home safely.
Uber
So you-
does not own that car.
No,
Yeah, but you do.
Uber's paying the driver.
Right.
Do you show up at work drunk?
Well, that's why
When
they
you're
need,
stacking
they
lumber
need
and
a
all that
number for
bullshit?
somebody to call Uber.
They
Uber will
need
immediately
customer-
terminate
Exactly.
them. And Uber was like, we're sending you another Uber driver, and we are contacting the authorities.
That's kind of what he just said.
Right.
That's all they need to do. You don't need to put the devices in there.
But I'm saying if you aren't gonna make sure that your people aren't drunk, then that's what you need to do is start putting devices in their fucking cars. If you don't have a customer service line to make sure that my drunk ass isn't getting home safely, no, because that's what I call
No,
Uber
I get
for.
it. I get it. I
On the
get
flip
it.
side,
And that's
I
why I
get
call it taxi. That's why I call it taxi, because they're insured, because I can trust them, and I know I'm getting home.
Understood.
So if I'm going to go to Uber,
well,
then Uber, you need to make sure, A, I'm getting home safe, and B, your fucking driver is not drunk.
well,
How do
Devil's
you
advocate.
prove that? How do you prove that your driver is not drunk?
devil's advocate, you have to have insurance that allows you to work in your car to drive them for
Yes.
one. So that seems
And we live in Connecticut. You can fucking insure a goddamn moped,
in
bro.
this case,
Okay?
in this case,
Do you even
the guy
insurance, bro?
the guy is passed out. It's pretty easy to prove there's a problem.
Yeah.
And on the flip side,
And
the
he
guy,
did. He took a picture.
The guy should have. Well, the funny. I don't know if he should have driven the guy's car. That's.
I think it's
But
funny.
Probably not.
it's funny.
I think it's funny. That's
But-
why I fucking wrote this shit
All right,
down.
now-
it might have
Next
been
question.
appropriate for him to call a cop and say, "Hey, I just got in this Uber. This guy is fucking passed out. I don't know if he's dead. I don't know if he's a diabetic. Just get somebody over
Dude,
here."
he's trying to get to an airport. You know what he gave a fuck about? Getting home.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that.
He
but
gave a fuck about getting home. So
Destination
is
Jones.
he going to call up Uber fucking 911? No, he's not. He's going to get in the fucking thing. He's going to push the guy over the passenger seat. Going to drive himself to the goddamn airport, take a picture, and then say, I just drove myself to the airport
You know
because
what?
my fucking
You know
Uber
what?
driver
Even
was
better.
drunk.
Draw a dick on his forehead and leave him be.
Even better.
Next.
Chris,
Oh, God. Yes, Mike. What can I do for you?
Carson Wentz
Oh,
will
God.
be coming back to make the Eagles instantly better. Buy or sell?
Sal, I watched that game against Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay, who is not a very good team, but a good solid team, ran your ass up the flagpole and saluted you. I watched an Atlanta team a week ago take you to the limit and blew 4 scoring opportunities
Yeah.
because of their offensive coordinator. You're not the champions you were. Carson Wentz is not going to change that. Sell, sell, sell.
I agree. Ed,
Sell. You guys rehearsed this one, and it's discrimination.
Horseshit. How are we?
bullshit.
You and your Superman gimmick bullshit T-shirt. Fuck that.
That
We
Henry
all know
Cavill-
Batman's better.
Should I call fucking DeCarlos for this one?
I'm
You want to
gonna-
call Drew? Let's
I-
call
I-
Drew.
I'm gonna say, 'cause
no
I-
phone calls.
No,
No,
no.
phone calls.
Fuck that.
No.
What do you got? What do you
I gotta
got?
leave in a half hour. No fucking
What do you got?
phone
We
calls.
got enough time. Hold
No,
on.
we don't.
No, what do
Yes,
you got?
we
We
do.
don't.
What do you got? I didn't call nobody.
I'm calling him
I-
now. Fuck it.
I didn't call nobody.
He called it.
Dude, he's got 5 minutes, and otherwise I'm pulling
He's got-
that.
I was
He's
gonna
got 5, and then I'm
He's
pulling
got
that.
3.
That's my last call. That's my last call.
He's got 3. If he answers, he's got 3 minutes. You started this. If he answers at all.
No, he's, because he heard me.
He's unavailable. Well, fuck that shit.
Yeah, because he hit the fucking side.
He probably was watching the show and knew we were calling. I could call Pitbull and give him 3 minutes, but he's a Pittsburgh fan, so it's not going to matter.
You got poetry or what?
You want to throw that right in the middle now?
Oh, I didn't. I thought you had poetry.
I
and then
do
we're
have
doing-
poetry. It's right here, but I don't know how far he is into buy and sell.
I thought he said it was the last one.
Did he?
I thought he did.
Did you sell? Of course you
Yeah,
sold.
I said
'cause you're,
I said sell because you guys rehearsed it and it's discrimination.
it's not discrimination, but the minute he comes downstairs after...
No, I'm selling it just because you know how I feel about Philadelphia right now. So.
Oh, same here. I'm not a big
you
fan of
fuck-
Philadelphia.
fuck 'em.
I thought they got lucky in the Super Bowl. I thought they got
I thought
lucky
they
in the
cheated in the
playoffs.
Super Bowl.
No, they did not cheat. Stop it.
No, he made the case and I agreed with him.
Horse shit, horse shit,
Nope.
horse shit, horse shit. They did not cheat in the Super Bowl. Fuck. That would be like me saying Patriots cheated in the Super Bowl prior. When they didn't, they staged the greatest comeback
They
of
did.
all time.
They did. They opened a can of whoop ass and drank it.
I'm going to punch you in the dick. Before we leave here, as a Falcons fan, I'm going to punch you in the dick. I don't say this to many Patriot fans, but you, I will. Only because you only root for football in the fucking playoffs, bro. Except this week, when you walked in at fucking Jacksonville.
No, usually just Super Bowl if the Patriots are in.
No,
because I don't like.
You're fucking killing me,
dude. I would hate to get as worked up as you guys do all year. It's like
I don't get worked up. I'm a Falcons fan. If we lose, I get it. If they win, I'm excited. That's the life I've led for 30. Oh Christ, I got to do the math now. 30 years. I'm just gonna say 30 because it's a nice round number. There's a 0 at the end.
So if they win like Super Bowl on home turf, you're just gonna keel over and die because bucket list complete.
Yes.
Yeah.
If this year in Atlanta, in the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta, Georgia, if Atlanta Falcons win the Super Bowl, you may as well just buy my kiss coffin now. I'm done.
Was that your last?
Was that your last buy and sell?
That was.
Okay, well,
are we
I
ready?
told you that before I left.
Ladies and gentlemen, well, we weren't. We had a disagreement about it. Welcome to
Apparently.
Jabroni's Musical Poetry Theater.
Well, hang on, real quick.
Oh God,
real quick. You made the case last year that the Eagles cheated in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I agreed with you, and he's screaming horseshit.
They
No,
didn't cheat the Super
I
Bowl.
still believe it.
Refer to that episode; it's still online.
I'm sure I can find it.
Yep.
Here comes the Poetry Music Theater gimmick.
Starts tonight, doesn't it? Oh no, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Well, it was supposed to start tonight. Did they get rained out?
I think so.
All right. Well, Yankees and Red Sox are not starting tonight. Wait, look, it's Drew DeCarlos now. Hey, man, putting the little man to bed. Is everything okay? Give me a second. I'm going to text him back.
No, we're good.
We're done. I just want to text him back.
I ran the music.
Hold on. Tried to get you on the show. Hold on.
If you were watching the show, you'd know.
Too late. You blew it.
Crickets.
See, I don't fuck around.
Crickets.
Too late, you blew it. Thank you, fuck you, bye. That is a great intro, by the way.
It is.
That video, people love that shit. I offer you tonight's passage. The night has 1,000 eyes, but he moves in only places where the eyes can never be. The night tells 1,000 lies. And when you wake up in the morning, were you dreaming or screaming? Trying to hide your burning heart before somebody cuts it all away. Song lyrics or poetry?
Poetry.
Go. Poetry.
Poetry.
Poetry? All right, listeners, you have 1 week. Tell me if this passage was song lyrics or poetry. Next week, I will reveal it. Today is 9/18. Am I correct?
Because we're right. That's why.
Oh, you want to... Wait. You guys want to know now?
I thought that's what we were doing, but
well, I thought it was.
Oh, we can wait. We can wait till next week.
We can wait
because you want them to be included.
I want them to be included, guys.
Small audience tonight.
But wait a minute. Hold on. Time on Offsides Clipping. They have the Google machine at their disposal.
You're the one who said next week.
All right, guys. Is that poetry or song lyrics? Don't go to your Google machine. Be honest. Don't be fucking douchebags and go immediately to the Google machine and be like,
you have plenty of time. Right. You have plenty of time. Write that shit right now.
All right.
And don't be counting the bars.
Exactly. So now, before we all end this night, which was equal parts fantastic and heartbreaking, Ed, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Time.
Dude, who's the lead singer of that band?
Joey Tempest.
I bet you every time we do this, he gets a boner.
He probably gets a nickel. He gets a check for
no,
a
I
nickel
think
every
that's
week.
right. He gets a boner that
Right.
we're
He
actually
just
using.
sits there
this.
like
Somebody actually used the
Somebody
song.
out there find Joey Tempest, send him to us.
We'll interview him.
We'll give him the top 10 that week.
We'll interview fucking
watch.
Joey
Watch.
Tempest.
He'll show up at the door.
We talked a little.
I heard you guys want to talk.
Mike
probably
brought
will.
up the ties, and last week the biggest tie was the lowly Cleveland Browns taking on both of our picks for the AFC Champions Super Bowl, the Pittsburgh Steelers, ending in a tie. Now, this week, Pittsburgh had a chance to win against New Orleans. They didn't. They ended with a loss. So, I'm going to take a page out of Jeff Foxworthy's book and call this, You Might Be a Browns Fan If. Honorable mention.
Should be Steelers fan.
No. This one's all about the Browns.
Yeah,
If
but the Steelers lost 2 this week, I thought.
No, they tied last week, and I think they lost this week.
Yeah, exactly. So they're just like the Browns.
The Browns haven't won in 2+ years. Let's just stick to the
He
subject.
wrote this last week, bro. Come on.
I wrote this today on my couch, actually.
Oh.
Honorable mention: if you blew the
Standing
only
up for you and shit.
if you blew the only 10-point lead you've had in 2 years, and you're okay with it, you might be a Browns fan. Number 10. If your fan base asks for paper instead of plastic at the grocery so they have something to wear to Sunday's game on their head, you might be a Browns fan. Number 9, if wait till next year has been since 1954, you might be a Browns fan. Number 8, if you get excited about a sucky losing record because you hope management won't piss away another number 1 draft pick, you might be a Browns fan. Number 7, in case nobody saw what happened today with Browns tickets, if you can get tickets, buy 1, get 10 free, you might be a Browns fan. Number 6, if you'd rather watch reruns of Dancing with the Stars on DVR while your game is on, you might be a Browns fan.
That'll be next week.
Probably.
Aren't some of them dancing?
Number 5, if more of your team's merchandise is at Goodwill rather than at NFLshop.com, you might be a Browns fan. Number 4, if you continue to cling to the NFL championships you won back in 1862 rather than live in the present, Cowboy fan, you might be a Browns fan.
They did win one in 1862.
Pretty much. Number 3, if you still haven't forgiven Ernest Biner's fumble, which essentially started John Elway's The Drive, you might be a Browns fan. Number 2, if you considered last week's tie the end of your losing streak, you might be a Browns fan.
Very much.
And number 1, if you're too stupid and prideful to get off the sinking ship that has been sinking for 35 fucking years, you might be a Browns fan, you rotten dipshit.
I'm sorry.
You're a Cavaliers fan now.
If I was on one of those teams that tied, I'd be going like right up to the quarterback and be like, out in the parking lot, we're going to continue this game.
Oh, in Cleveland's case, it was the kicker.
Well, I was going to say
4 missed kicks, 2 extra points, 2 field goals.
It's going to be the kicker too.
Well, you are
3 missed kicks.
Here's the deal. It wasn't the one of them was the game.
No, it was the game. It was at the end of the game.
2 of these Cleveland kicks would have made them 6 points better, which even with the New Orleans comeback, they win.
All right, for you folks at home, I
Go
guarantee if you go back just a year in this show, they're complaining about rule changes then too. So this is getting ridiculous with the NFL.
Yes.
No,
Fucking ridiculous.
1,000%.
It is last year, and I'll tell you what we were bitching about last year. It was the catch of what was decided as a
The
catch.
football move.
Right, exactly. You had to make a football move before you were considered an eligible receiver. Now, this year, we're having an issue of whether it's roughing the passer or
Momentum.
no, it's pass interference
Ah, yes.
on the wide receivers.
There was a couple bad calls in your game, my game, and if I'm remembering correctly,
All the games.
the New England
It's
game,
been ridiculous.
where you can look at the screen and see pass interference and there's no flag. But if somebody happens to do the hand brush on the shoulder, they're getting a
getting
flag.
called. It's funny
The
that you say
referees need to be changed.
my game, because you're absolutely right. I think my ref actually got it right. So it's about 3 minutes left in the game.
Yes.
Green Bay is making the push down the field, and literally Green Bay is like this. Minnesota is like this. They're fighting each other. They push off each other. The ball goes rolling past both of them. The ref just kind of looks at him and goes,
Tough
and
shit.
doesn't throw a flag. Now the reason why he does that is because, dude, he's looking at both of you guys, and you're both molesting each other. Okay, he's like, You boys need to figure it out, okay?
So actually, let me because
That's a good ref. That's a good ref right there.
Because we had probably one of the better episodes where we discussed the greatest quarterback of all time, and so is it
Dan Marino?
I forget what we decided on in the end.
I believe we decided.
No, we did decide it was Tom Brady. Much to at the time the
dirtbag cocksucker from South Carolina.
There you go.
Yeah. But anyway, so one thing we talked
There's no
about.
names. There's no names.
One thing
No
we
names.
talked about was how the what's the word I'm looking for? The
gayness of Tom Brady.
No.
We're not. So we're not arguing that Tom Brady's gay.
No, we're not.
It doesn't matter.
We're not.
You're right. It doesn't actually.
Doesn't matter if he's gay.
He's pretty fucking.
He's still beating the shit out of the Falcons.
One time.
Anyway.
Time.
And he is beating the hell out of that pussy too.
So we'll say the goalpost
Yes.
keeps getting set higher and higher for these players, and that's why they're scoring bigger. But is it that, or is it because they keep manipulating the rules so much it becomes easier to score?
It is becoming easier to score. That's what I'm saying.
I might go with you.
Do you even need a defense anymore? Is my point.
I said that
Look,
earlier. Take the defense away and just
That's
give
what I
them
said. Exactly.
physical challenges like Double Dare.
I even went further than that, and I said, let's get the kicker out of this and just go for fucking 2-point conversions every time now.
Exactly.
And let's not even have field goals anymore. If you're down in the red zone and your fucking team sucks and you can't score in the red zone, guess what? You're done. You ain't scoring. You ain't getting no points.
Get to that.
I guarantee you there ain't going to be no more ties in the NFL.
Get to the big box or don't do it at all.
There
Thank
should
you.
never be.
Get rid of the fucking kickers. The fact that any one of these motherfuckers are making $5 million a year to randomly kick a pigskin through 2 rebarred fucking iron bars is beyond me. Literally.
It's fucked up.
Think about that.
It's fucked up.
Somebody's getting paid
It's fucked up.
Hold on.
Pay me
hold
$5
on,
million
hold on,
to
wait,
kick.
wait,
I do better than
wait.
Zane Gimmick.
It's not even
Cleveland
5
guy.
times. It's more than that because I only get paid. I think it's $55,000 a year.
Yeah.
So if somebody's making $5 million, that's
100 times more than you make.
That's what, there you go. So this dude is making
Yes,
100
algebra
times
works.
more than me to randomly kick a ball through some uprights.
Before this handsome gentleman closes us out, which he does every week, I want to say a couple thank yous. Thank you to Tommy Summers for the advice you've given us over the years and to your 300th episode. That goes to Mike Branvold and Mark Zucchini as well. Thank you to Eddie for producing the best show on the East Coast.
Shows,
that there ever.
motherfucker.
Shows, plural, because I was just going to mention.
Show.
No, shows, plural, because
No,
the
this is
C&J's
the best show.
This is the best show, but
Yeah, but
you
I
have
produce
shows.
the best shows.
No. You
I'm
you
with
do
him.
have shows
Buy it.
underneath your belt.
buy.
But this is the best show. Period.
So you're
Absolutely.
selling.
You're selling.
I'm selling
this.
it.
All
I'm
right.
selling it.
Don't forget tomorrow night, C&J Speedway Review, 8:30 p.m. on the YouTube channel. What a wild weekend in Las Vegas. If you ever seen 8 out of 16 potential playoff
Hey, I
people-
tried to watch a race this weekend. Nobody wanted to pick me up. Nobody
I
wanted to
didn't
fucking
know. I
give me
would've
beer.
tried.
Nobody
I
wanted to
would've
give
done
me
that, too.
food. Hey, I said that.
I didn't
Mark,
see it.
Mark called me out and said I was full of shit. But what happened last time when I watched the race? You had barbecue here.
Yes.
You had beer here.
Yes.
And the only thing I didn't have was a ride home, and it was only because I came here on my way to work.
And I was,
Thank you.
Okay.
So,
in any
fuck you.
In any particular crazy playoff format, do you see 8 playoff teams just shit the bed as bad as they did for a plethora of reasons? No, but you did this weekend at Vegas for the Cup teams. The Xfinity Series ended their regular season, fantastic. The Truck season is in their first race of the playoffs, fantastic. Everything went down, and it was just crazy. Make sure you catch that. Thank you so much from my heart. All of our hearts. Mandy Meloon, you were fucking phenomenal. Thank you so much. Doors wide open. Anytime you want to come back, it's all about you, kid. What a message you delivered
I'm
to the
serious
people.
about Captain Scott's. We'll buy.
Yes, absolutely. We'll meet up. We'll bring the
Mhm.
ladies. We'll all sit in a circle. Bring your kid. Let's have a good time. I'll bring my kids. Ed will bring Anna. Anna will try to punch everybody in the mouth. Not really. She just punches me in.
She's chilled with that.
I know she has, but Evan might punch
Now
me
that
in the mouth.
now that she's in school, she's getting structure.
What
Okay.
the fuck is that shit?
All right. Well, regardless,
Sure, he wouldn't last long.
the door is open. You are welcome. What you did tonight for us and for yourself was fantastic. We thank you so much. We're not going to pay any bills tonight. Just go to lokiandjabroni.com and hunt around. You'll find the things you need that we need to tell you about.
That's about it, guys.
Next week, I got a new offer for you folks at home.
Ooh, and I
Ooh,
think
That I'm going to
for
talk
that
to
one.
these guys about after we go off air.
if I'm
Tune
doing
in.
my math right, next week is our favorite week ever.
I think it is.
Yes, sir. It's Do You Know What's Fucked Up?
Oh, and there is so much.
Yes, there is.
I think we actually need a new fucking.
I think I have. I know it's going to be late. Usually you do it within the week, but I think I'm going to have my first Ted Nugent Award
We need
to
a
give
Nugent.
out.
Present it. We'll see.
Yes.
We need.
You know,
a
it's been a while.
I'll email
need
it
a
to you.
Nugent.
You tell me
And
if
it's been a fucked up week, though.
It has.
There's plenty of shit
No,
to
you're
talk
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. All right, guys. Thank you all very much. Once again, if you guys are on that YouTube, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell button that's over there so you don't miss any of the new updates, including a Loki's Gaming Corner that just came out recently.
That was good. I watched
if
it.
you
I don't
guys-
know a damn thing you're talking about. I enjoyed it.
See, if you guys actually had that bell, it would have plopped right the fuck up like it did with me, and I actually got to see Brian.
Oh,
Brian.
Jesus.
Dude, the fucking camera though, guy.
Was he fucking
Like when you fucking grab the camera and you
Was
flip
he-
it this way.
Was he drunk?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't even stoned at that point. He was excited.
Don't forget.
You know what it was?
What
He
was
was excited to be a part of this because I was like, dude, you get to be the
Let's bring him
cameraman.
down here.
No, he was excited. He
You
was
know
excited.
what, Brian?
He was excited.
Brian, you out there? You listening, Brian?
He does. He watches
Right
shows.
here.
He watches shows.
Right, Brian, right here. When the regular season for baseball is over, we will bring you right here when we do our season breakdown and what we think is going to go on in the playoffs. Also, we have an offer. Mid-season, when week 9 is over, I think there's 17 weeks in the regular football season.
16, but yeah, 17
Well,
with buys.
17 because of
Yeah.
the bye. Marcus Arju has opened up his man cave, wants us to bring the rig. He wants to be a part of the show, and we're going to do the half-season breakdown and where we think we're going to go from there. Mark has opened his home to us too many times, and it's only fair that we bring maybe the half-season preview, review, etc. to
Well,
Mark's
we're
place.
going to have to talk to some people before I decide to do this.
I don't know what you did, but that's fine.
No, I'm just saying I need to talk to a few people before we go online.
Okay.
Because there's some mouths that get flapping.
I don't know who you're talking about, and I don't care.
That time.
I just look straight forward.
All right, folks. Good night, and we'll see you next week.